Peel your eyes back for this one. Published by Kisa Weba in January of 2022, this scary video has been trending in the Spanish-speaking YouTube community. The video was shared with Kisa Weba by a subscriber who said he'd found the footage on Reddit. The original poster claimed to have crossed paths with this mud monster on the way home one day. The footage shows a creepy female mud-like creature sitting in the middle of a dirt road. The mysterious creature has long arms with a peculiar appendage where the hand should be. The hand features long, Gumby-like fingers that appear to contract as the cameraman walks toward her. The figure's back is also strangely indented. It looks as if parts of the figure are blurred out for discretion, but as the cameraman walks toward her, the other hand reaches over, revealing the same elongated fingers as the first. There also appears to be a trail several feet down the road, dragged by the figure, but it ends as if the creature dropped to the earth there from the middle of nowhere. What is this mud monster? And what exactly is she doing here? I guess we'll never know for sure. An encounter with a mysterious, pale figure in the forest. What could go wrong? Published by F2 Fun Facts YT. This cameraman arrives at a cement well that may be home to a madman. Peering down into it, he only sees darkness, but then he pulls back and casts the camera over his surroundings. In a corner near another cement structure, a pale figure is crouched. The figure looks human but keeps very still. That is, until it suddenly springs up, turns around and launches at the cameraman. Its movements are incredibly agile, almost superhuman, and its skin is inhumanely pale. Does it live in the well? Needless to say, the cameraman flees, leaving us to wonder if the creature was human or something else. This video was taken at night in a parking garage somewhere in West India. A woman was apparently acting normal until she was suddenly attacked by what some bystanders later described as a ghost. Watch this part and tell me if you think she is having delusions or fighting off a spiritual possession. Try to translate if possible too, please. I did not think much of this video until I noticed what could be a strange paranormal disturbance. Some kind of fast-moving white objects repeatedly appeared during the harshest times of her struggle, like here for instance. Poor camera quality makes it hard to tell if these are some kind of spirit orbs or just insects. If these are insects and nothing more, I find it weird that there are only just a few of them, and how they only seem to appear during key moments of the video when she is in the most distress. A creepy sighting of a large unknown creature is probably one of the scariest things to be found in the forest in quite some time. The camera slowly focuses on a figure with strikingly hideous humanoid features on an oversized head underneath hunched over shoulders. It easily clears a tall balcony covered in ivy as it straightens up and glares at the camera, its mouth gnashing. The edge of the dark woods at its back. Notice as it runs how the rest of it looks like a monster. It doesn't look like a person in a mask. If this is a costume, it's an expensive one that goes all the way to the ground. The uploader of this video claims that this is a sighting of the infamous Dogman of Michigan, a humanoid creature who is said to have been roaming the woods for years. If so, then this is the closest anyone has ever gotten to it before. But with that said, the quality of this video would suggest that it's either very old or has been edited. I can't tell which it is, so maybe you can help me decide. This video will have you questioning how safe your food is if you live with roommates. Basically, a woman in South Carolina was caught on hidden camera, opening up the fridge and spraying select items with window cleaner. At first, it looks like she might simply be cleaning a dirty spot on the shelf, but when she takes a container out that still has food in it, gives a few good sprays, and then puts it back, it becomes clear that she is tampering with food. Since there is a hidden camera in the first place, I'm guessing she has been doing this for a long time, or at least long enough to make her roommate suspicious. She even almost notices the camera at approximately 1 minute into the video, but seems to shrug off the sensation of being watched. When faced with the evidence, she was put in a first offenders program and faced no time. Do you think this is fair based on the video, or should she have gotten a harsher punishment? Exorcist Pierre Dulong is a trusted member of French society. In this video clip, a 19-year-old hairdresser is seen being exorcised of a demon. This took place in Gers, began with a pendulum stroke, through which Dulong detected the woman's possession. She screamed, growled, grunted, spit, convulsed, and foamed at the mouth. She also spoke in Spanish, not her mother tongue. Her eyes rolled back in her head as she shook and convulsed. Although the demon fought it the whole way, in the end, the good won. The woman finished with a calm smile and feeling at ease, but sometimes even Dulong can't rid a person of this. He says honesty is the foundation of his reputation, admitting, "When I cannot do anything, I announce it right away." Hopefully, for the sake of the possessed, this is rarely the case. Something in the woods is about to blow this cop's mind and his eardrums. He walks back with wide eyes and puts his flashlight away, completely done with the situation until backup arrives, but backup doesn't seem to do much better. I think this could be a recording because the scream sounds exactly the same both times. So maybe somebody put a really good speaker system in the woods, or maybe that's just what I'm choosing to believe because I don't want to accept that this is real. A photographer is under a bridge when he records what he calls a strange creature. Confused, he goes over to the spot and the mysterious figure is nowhere to be found. This supposedly unexplained sighting looks pretty good at first and had some people freaking out. With that said, once zoomed in, this video appears to be an up-close encounter of the CGI kind because the creature's feet hardly seem to touch the ground as it walks. Though if this was real and you saw it, what do you think you would do? This homeowner in Montgomery, Texas catches a stranger in distress on their doorbell cam. It's about 3 in the morning when a woman frantically rings the bell at the Sunrise Ranch subdivision. Look again and you'll notice what could be shackles dangling from both of her arms, suggesting this person could have been taken captive and recently freed themselves. The sheriff's department is worried that this woman may have been running for her life and trying to get help from the nearest home. Police released this video in August of 2018 hoping for anonymous tips, but so far no one has come forward with any explanation. As for who this woman is or what happened to her on that fateful night, no one can say for sure. What you discover when out late at night can make your skin crawl. Posted to Reddit, the Redditor writes, "People are saying it could be a skinwalker." The on-screen caption reads, "Something weird is happening in my town." And after watching the video, you'll agree with that statement. The video begins with something hopping on all fours over a hill while roaring in an animalistic manner. It's hard to tell what the thing is at a distance, human or animal. The second clip in the series reads, "Dude, something is in the shed at Desert Willow," and it certainly sounds like it. Something is beating against the barred doors of a shed at night. There's also a terrifying growling voice heard, though its words are inaudible. It's difficult to tell if the thing is human, but it continues to beat at the walls of the shed. Part 2 of the video series reads, "Stay away from Dynamite Park." In it, barking, howling, and wailing are heard. It doesn't sound like a dog, nor does it sound human. Again, the video captures an unidentified creature at a distance, racing around on all fours. Could this be a skinwalker? Don't stick around to find out. Nevertheless, it appears some serious mysteries are taking place in that town. This car is making its way down the BKE Expressway in Singapore when it manages to catch the split-second image of what could be a paranormal hitchhiker searching for its next ride. The ghostly presence looks too tall to be a normal human being, and its limbs look too long as well. Though I guess this stretched appearance could be an optical illusion from being captured at a high rate of speed. Some people even say it looks like they are floating. I want to hear your opinion, so let me know if you agree. Have you ever felt like someone was watching you while you slept? The truth is, they might be. A couple in Bucktown, Chicago, discovered an intruder had crept into their home to take their valuables and to watch them creepily as they snoozed on the sofa. He was captured on a security camera gazing at the couple, Jordan and Jack, from the upstairs balcony while they slept below on their couch during a Netflix binge. It was only when Jack said to his girlfriend, "Why are you at the top of the stairs wearing a white hoodie before we went to bed?" and she answered, "I wasn't at the top of the stairs," that the pair started to freak out. The intruder stood over them, watching for nearly 5 minutes the first go-around. Then he went back to snooping through the couple's things, only to return and gaze at them for another 5 minutes. The intruder is believed to have burglarized other neighborhood homes. He managed to get into the house through their bedroom balcony door, which they left open. In fact, he was so light on his feet that the couple's dogs didn't even budge. They slept the whole while at their owner's feet. What valuables did he take? As it turns out, only Jordan's purse. In fact, this was the reason the couple watched the surveillance video in the first place. They'd gotten into an argument about where Jordan had left the purse. Jack suggested she'd forgotten it at the restaurant they'd gone to the previous night. Jordan insisted she'd brought it home. Moral of the story, binge watching Netflix is more unsafe than you'd think. In yet another CCTV video, a ghost possesses a woman at a store in China. In the video, you see a package fall on its own accord from the third shelf. It could have just been stuff there, teetering on the edge, causing it to fall at the slightest breeze. Although it doesn't appear to be teetering, that's certainly a possibility. But what's strange is it appears to move for a moment before actually taking the leap, leading a skeptical onlooker to consider that it may also be something paranormal. What happens next will make you think the same thing. A female shopper, surprised by the sound of the package falling, turns to look. Being considerate, she walks back, picks up the package, looks at it, and sets it back on the third shelf. The shopper drops the other package she's holding, as the possession seems to take complete control over her body. With one hand on the package, her head flings back and falls forward, back and forward, back and forward, as if in seizure. She manages to pry her hand from the packaging and turns her back towards it, but her body and mind are fully possessed. The demon takes control of her until another female shopper alerts staffers for help. They are seen gathered around her, trying to subdue her, but she won't be subdued. Her body seizes suddenly again, and the camera even seizes for a moment, as the three surrounding the woman are launched back by the demon's energy. We don't know what happened to the woman, whether the demon fled her body at this moment, or if it still possesses her today. When walking alone in the wilderness, you generally don't want to run into anyone at all, let alone someone perched in a place you'd least expect them. That's exactly what happened to this individual, whose footage was posted to YouTube in August of 2014. The person appears to be walking in a rather remote forested area. Ahead stands a blocked stone tunnel, and sitting atop the concrete is someone dressed in a white shirt facing the tunnel's interior. What are they doing there, and why? Reaching this depth of the forest or that tunnel itself are quite difficult tasks. The cameraman doesn't wait to find out, and probably rightly so. He backs away slowly before turning around and moving quickly out of there. Some locals in the comments insist to never approach that area, saying this is really serious, never go. I gotta agree, better safe than sorry.
What is that? That's scary. Is that lightning? What the hell is this?
One night in 2018, this intense blue light was seen flickering in the sky all across New York City. The light was so intense that you could see its reflection on the water, as if it were the middle of the day. To the left and right, the sky was still dark, but in the middle was a blazing blue event of massive proportions. The official explanation is a power generator failure caused by an arc of electricity to shoot up into the sky. But here's the thing, there was no blast, no fire, no one hurt. Firefighters didn't even examine inside of the building it allegedly happened in, according to news reports. And when you look up stories about the incident, a large number of the headlines seem to go out of their way to specifically mention it was not aliens. Kind of makes you wonder. A YouTuber named Yvonne hears a noise coming from her kitchen and grabs her phone to record. After 15 seconds of silence, a cabinet door opens to let an item drop onto the counter.
Oh my god.
The obvious answer is that someone pulled a string to open it. However, the cabinet opens to the right and no one is on that side. I guess someone could have been directly underneath. But when Yvonne gets closer, you can see nobody is on the ground, so I'm not sure what to think. A man films the road ahead while speaking in a different language. I'm not sure what he says, but it sounds like he is trying his best to stay calm in the face of danger. If you can translate this part for me, it would really help.
Berikan ku kekuatan dan jauhilah segala kejahatan, ya Allah.
He slowly turns around the camera to reveal a hooded figure floating in his car. Only the upper half of its body is visible, and there's total darkness where its face should be. He doesn't dare look at the phantom in his rearview mirror, instead keeping his eyes on the road and letting the camera look for him. If this isn't a prop, then what could it be besides a ghost? This YouTube video posted by a user named Relly Kane doesn't have a source, but he claims it happened somewhere in Vermont. The creature looks a lot like the rake, except there appears to be two long and possibly razor-sharp arms jutting ahead to support its weight as it moves. The legs look very small and unnatural at 14 seconds in, and at 42 seconds, you can see its arms are way too long to be a human. However, at the 55-second mark, it looks like it could possibly be someone in a costume, leaning on two walking sticks. So what do you make of this? This dashcam video originates from somewhere in Russia. A large truck swerves out of the way of something invisible, narrowly missing oncoming traffic in the process. Then a pedestrian suddenly appears from behind the truck and calmly walks away like nothing happened. The uploader of this video is sure that this is a ghost, and assuming this video is not CGI, I would have to agree. Slow the video down and you can clearly see how nothing is in the truck's path at first, and then the person instantly appears only after the truck has passed. It's almost as if the truck has passed straight through them. A YouTuber who goes by Anne posted this video back in 2014 of her sleepwalking activity at night. Using a webcam, she is able to record herself night after night jolting up while still being completely asleep. People have debated the authenticity of this video in the comments, but Anne swears she still does this every night to this day. I genuinely believe this footage is real, because sleepwalking is a well-documented behavior. Anne says she finds the footage hilarious, but there's something certainly chilling about that blank stare directly into the camera, as she's 100% asleep. This quick clip, a group of kids are playing soccer when a strange and mysterious creature decides to crash their game. Watch closely as a black object approaches them from the right.
¡Yo, mira qué he hecho! ¡Yo, mira qué he hecho! ¿Dónde? ¡Yo! ¡Mira con cositas!
The poor quality of this video makes it hard to tell exactly what this creature is. It's very small and the way it shuffles side to side does not look natural at all. It's very difficult, if not impossible, to make out a face or even any limbs. It could be a wild animal, but the way that the children and even the dog all run away in absolute horror has many people convinced that this creature could be paranormal or even extraterrestrial. Even when you slow down the video and zoom in on the creature, it's hard to tell what it could be. I personally have no idea what it is, and I definitely like to read your best guess in the comments below. You're never alone on an amusement park ride. This phantom will make sure of it. Published to YouTube by Eli Zix in September 2015. The following footage will have you looking twice. The clip shows 3 women and a man riding the pirate ship at an amusement park, swinging back and forth. At the beginning of the clip, there are clearly 3 women there, but as the video ends, the 3rd woman on the end has completely vanished. Where did she go? Did she fall off the ride? Disappear somehow? Or was she ever really there at all? Some in the comments claim that this girl passed away on this ride 2 years prior to when this video was filmed. This is all hearsay, but who knows? The truth has to be out there somewhere. A long time ago, I analyzed this video of a mother filming her 2 daughters sharing a meal. It looks like a nice family moment until the girl closest to the camera notices something in the other room and lets out a frightened remark. Nobody else sees it and they continue eating. Her sister tries to cheer the worried girl up, but she sees something again and starts to cry out of fear. Her mother asks her what's wrong, and all the girl can do is point to the other room. She stands up, no longer able to be near whatever it is she's seen, and then she runs to her mom for protection. Her sister is laughing hysterically at all of this, but then she turns around and sees it for herself. The video ends shortly afterwards, but that's not all. When this video was released, some commenters say that they can see the outline of a figure peering around the corner just moments before the video cuts out. Well, now thanks to this still frame I found online, I can really see what they were talking about. I only stumbled across this image recently, and I'm not sure which techniques were used to make the figure so apparent. What do you think? Was this the ghost that scared them so bad? A car sees a ghost on the side of the road and pulls over to record. They see nothing but darkness, so they slowly inch forward, scared yet certain something paranormal lies ahead. Looks like they were right. They've caught a ghost sighting in their headlights, but not for long as the figure disappears into the night. Suddenly, they are no longer curious about what they saw and only want to get out of there fast. The figure is much taller than the average person and towers over their car. Something tells me they aren't the first travelers to witness this roadside phantom, and they are also probably far from the last for that matter. Heavenly Harmonies sound haunting. This one may actually be. Published to YouTube in June of 2020. This clip comes from a video that'll give you nightmares, according to the Portuguese title. The clip is gaining traction in the Spanish and Portuguese speaking YouTube communities, and after watching, you'll know exactly why it's become so popular. The footage shows a children's choir practicing, led by their enthusiastic conductor. They're likely preparing to perform for their parents in a Christmas program, judging by their Santa hats. At first, all seems normal, nothing out of place. That is until the shot zooms in on this child, who appears to be experiencing something out of the norm. The girl with long black hair leans her head back as if her actions are out of her control. She appears possessed, and her face, blurred to begin with, even disappears at some points, like it's erased from the video altogether. The young girl dips her head back several times in this manner, which is plenty of cause for concern, but it's her seeming to vanish from the footage only to re-emerge that's especially creepy. Is this girl possessed? Can the vanishing act be somehow explained? What is happening here? One thing's for sure, it's freaky. That thing you see out of the corner of your eye shouldn't be trusted. Posted by fingerlongjumping804 to the Ghosts subreddit. This looks more like a gremlin than a spirit. The video shows a man just trying to go about his day, taking out the trash. But as he opens the door, this strange small shadow leaps into view and quickly disappears out of the frame. The guy doesn't appear to see the figure in reality as he opens the door. Redditor Joey Josie suggests that someone just threw a piece of clothing across the room. Others think it's a gremlin. Some who've slowed the clip down note that the figure appears transparent, but perhaps the best theory comes from Pantless Weekends, who writes, "Trash bag was taken out, but its soul remained in the house. Better kick that to the curb too, before it stays for good." May 17th, 2006 at 8:12 p.m. The Monterrey Witch of Mexico was caught on video flying just above the Mexican hills. She glides above the ground, just as you would imagine a witch to fly through the air, floating through the sky serenely. There's a good several yards between her and the hills below, with plenty of blue between. After the clear view of her dark shape against the skyline, her profile is shown as a white speck against the green hills as she skates across a canyon. The video goes on for a good 2 minutes, and it doesn't appear to be a hoax. As the being traverses the cliffs, the figure is tall and cylindrical, flying across a very windy canyon, which makes some UFO researchers believe that it can't be normal, it must be paranormal. Diana Perla Chapa, a UFO group leader and researcher from Monterrey and a popular Mexican TV host and UFO investigator, confirms this. Experts say that there is no way something could move so steadily because it's a very windy canyon, she said, speaking at the Mutual UFO Network of Los Angeles conference. A YouTuber and his friend are riding a motorcycle throughout the Indian town of Uti when they unexpectedly zoom past a pedestrian clad in ancient-looking robes. Watch this part, and if you happen to share their language, please translate what's being shouted at the person here. I'm guessing that they probably said watch where you're going or something along those lines. Whatever it is that they said, it must have really upset the other person, because after driving in a straight line for about another minute, this happens. They come across the same person as before. Yet this is impossible because there is no way that the person could have been traveling on foot faster than what they were doing on a bike. Suddenly it dawns on them that they were most likely taunting a spirit, and it looks like they actually get off their bike to flee. This video looks very authentic, and I'm inclined to believe it is real because there's no added music or sound effects, just raw footage. If anyone is from the town of Uti or lives nearby, let me know if these sightings are common in the area, or better yet, tell me if you've ever seen something like this yourself. This video was taken from a live stream in someone's car. Two friends are singing a popular song by Adele together and just goofing off one night while aimlessly driving. I can't play the clip with sound because the song is copyrighted, but pay attention to the baby seat in the back. It starts out obviously empty, as you can see here in the beginning. However, sometime during their singing, something slowly materializes behind them. Let me know if you can see a ghost child at this point. By By the time they finally notice, you can already vaguely see the baby's mouth and other facial features. They are absolutely stunned and quickly turn off the stream without saying another word. I have no possible explanation for this video, besides maybe the shadows playing tricks on them. Still, that's a strange coincidence that begs for a further investigation. People go disappearing all of the time, but rarely are such strange events like this one caught on camera. A man in a library is calmly reading when he looks up and spontaneously vanishes. This looks like it has to be special effects, except this unexplained video also has an equally unexplained background. Multiple comments agree that there was once a longer version of this video from years ago that was mysteriously taken offline. In this longer version, this man's face is supposedly uncensored. Whoever this is could have contacted the police over privacy concerns. If so, as fake as this video looks, a longer version without blurred faces could mean this video is real. Two friends are wandering across a field to check out an old abandoned house that they are both excited about. I'm not sure, but I think they found this house at night and wanted to come back during the day. Anyway, they find that the house is mostly intact aside from a collapsing roof and decaying debris everywhere. They are just having a casual conversation when suddenly their camera chances upon something totally out of the ordinary.
Glass. The oven. The oven door.
Where?
In the middle of the living room.
The roof is off. Holy shit! Dude! Oh my... Go!
A completely black figure glides across the doorway from above. What's especially strange is that every square inch of this figure is pitch black even though they are in a room lit by sunlight. It is turned to the side with its head down, but absolutely no facial features are visible. The two friends both turn and run away from the shadowy inhabitant at full speed. I guess they could have a third person with them and just be playing a prank, but their reaction seems a little too genuine for me to think that it is fake. Similarly, if this was just a homeless person upstairs, then they probably would have shouted something like "get out" instead of silently walking across the doorway. Many people think that this is a shadow person, and I think that's a definite possibility. While sitting around playing video games, little did this guy know he was about to be in one. Published by C. Sano Act in November of 2011, this guy was hanging out in the living room when he heard something from the kitchen. Getting up to check it out, he doesn't seem to see anything of substance, but something of substance knocks him to the floor. He's dragged across the room and out of sight. Is this ghost hinting that he should get his homework done? Or does this house have a serious poltergeist in residence? It'd be hard to ignore after an incident like this. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Conscious Swing 7599, this redditor wrote, "Trying to film a podcast until some intruder or some kind of lost creature started stalking us. Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about."
Yeah, no, I don't know. In 40 years, I'm retiring. What are you going to be doing, dog?
I'll be close to retiring, I said.
I don't know, dude. That's going to be me, dude. I can't see myself doing anything but one of those, like, trashy office jobs, dude.
The redditor later wrote in the comments, "There was something in the background right before the first cut."
Guys, there's a little jiggling going on with our doorknob. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know who that is, or if I call my dad, I know we're not going upstairs. That's for sure. I'm hoping he's going away. This is the third time he's done that.
And it started stalking us and trying to get in.
Oh, you can kind of see him. Boom. Yeah, no, there he is. That's a little scary for us tonight. My dad is not home. I don't know if I call him or what. Dude, we found the guy that was at our house knocking. He's just walking on the highway. We passed him like a couple times. Now he's gonna be up here, I think.
Dude, this is crazy.
You guys see him?
Yes.
I'm not slowing down, dude. I'm not risking this.
Be careful.
Driving in the
You don't want to hit him, dude. He's just walking out. There he is.
There he is. There he is. There, that's creepy. What? Whoa.
To which Pete the Cook 2 responded with, I can see it in the background before you go in, but can't make it out when you are looking out the window. Is the thing in the background the same as the guy walking down the road? The uploader later responded saying, he was actually out the window if you look against the garage. We think it's the same guy, because it's not like a group of people are going to a house that rule. It seems like this was one of the most positively received submissions in Chill's narrator subreddit history. Thanks Conscious Swing 7599. A weird human-like creature stands motionless when caught on camera in the forest. It's not a person wearing red makeup because the arms are exceptionally thin. It could be a special effects prop. The red figure never moves, so I have trouble believing this creature sighting is real. If I'm wrong, then this video shows why the woods of Indonesia are one of the scariest places in the world. Having this thing stare at you in the forest would be beyond creepy. An unknown creature sighting was caught on video by a girl from Boswell, Pennsylvania.
Who's there?
She's returning from a friend's house when this bizarre humanoid figure follows. When confronted at 1 minute and 37 seconds, it stretches into a shape later described as a large dog or a deer and runs away. It does look to be a mysterious, shape-shifting creature too small to be a person, at least from this perspective. This could be someone crouching down at an odd camera angle, or it could be the Pennsylvania creature known as the Boswell bushcrawler. If only it were a few steps over in the light, we would have been able to better tell. A group of friends decide to go driving down a haunted stretch of road in Wisconsin to see if the rumors are true. Apparently, a spirit will eventually get in the car with you if you wander around for long enough. They make sure it's midnight just for good measure and set out for adventure. The plan is to basically get lost in the middle of nowhere and then park on the side of the road. They drive for a long time until they find a desolate section with absolutely no traffic and decide this is as good a spot as any. They turn out all of the lights and sit in total darkness for a while. After some nervous chatter, they decide to turn the lights on for a second and make sure everyone is doing okay.
Yeah, you were looking there. I can't see anything in the room. Well, maybe you'll see something. Do you see Eric?
A woman ghost wearing a bridal gown sits with them in the back. Missing are her nose, lips, and one eye, but that still doesn't stop her from giving a sickening smile to the camera. Nobody notices her until they review the video later and subsequently flip out. Hopefully the spirit stayed on the road that night and followed none of them home. Daniel lives way out in the country, and rather than paying someone to remove the leaves around his house, he chooses to burn them instead. He stands at the edge of a controlled fire and takes this quick video.
Oh yeah, lots of fire. Oh yeah, lots of fire.
Off the distance, a two-legged creature about the same size as Daniel sprints away in the opposite direction as fast as it can. Keep in mind that Daniel lives out in the Oklahoma wilderness and has no neighbors. I really can't think of any forest animal that looks like this, so maybe the controlled burn accidentally flushed out a rare humanoid creature. With no other footage of the creature, we will probably never know what it truly is. It's 1:40 in the morning and two friends are cruising down a dark road, completely unable to see what's on the other side. They both think that they spot movement in the trees, and having nothing better to do, they pull over and shine their headlights into the area. Nothing happens for some time, and then a figure slowly emerges from the dry brush. One of them says that they think this is a witch, and I agree that could be a possibility. They are dressed in all black and hunched over holding what appears to be a walking stick. If this is not fake and that's not a third friend, then I can't imagine what anybody would be doing walking in complete darkness all alone, especially so late at night. Joe Rob TV sees something on the side of the road that's so creepy, he isn't even sure if he was imagining it or not, so he has to take a second look. This time he has his camera ready to record.
What the f? Oh, what the f? Oh, what the f?
The strange person slowly approaches with their hands in their pockets, almost like they've been expecting him, and Joe Rob quickly speeds off. It's hard to tell if they are wearing a Halloween mask, or if their facial features are really that oversized and distorted in real life. If they are wearing a mask, it must extend under the shirt, because I can't see where the mask ends and their neckline begins. A YouTuber named Jay Frisina is filming her visit in the ice caves deep inside the Austrian mountains when she records a rise of nervous screams coming from the tourist group up ahead.
Oh, wow.
A short while later, this odd figure is seen scaling the walls.
There's someone climbing up the wall. It's an iceman. It's a ghost. Jesus, what is that?
I was almost certain that this was just a frog until I remembered that they were in the ice caves. As far as I know, no cold-blooded frog should be able to survive the icy temperatures without freezing. And besides that, I don't think a group of people would randomly scream at once over an amphibian. Worst of all, it seems as though the glowing bluish humanoid creature appears to have no head. I can only imagine what this scene must have looked like in person. Facebook user in Tolompantla, Mexico is walking down the street when he discovers a missing section of a wall and takes a look inside. The hollow dungeon-like area is filled with what appears to be stacks of caskets. Whether the caskets were filled or not is anyone's guess. But the point is, why would this area be sealed away underneath a highway overpass? Also, why was this section of wall broken? Maybe it broke from the inside by someone trying to free themselves. Who knows what other secrets could be hidden under there? Tim, John, and Ben are going to explore a house in the back of the woods that is rumored to be where a clan of worshippers do all kinds of rituals. They wander around in the woods for a while until a rickety white house rises from the darkness. Inside, warnings are spray painted all across the walls in big dark letters, but they do not heed them and press on. Tim, John, and Ben take turns breaking stuff and jumping out at each other, but suddenly the three become very serious and quiet when they find a dungeon-like basement that leads straight down. The dark area smells extremely foul, and they cover their nose and mouths with their shirts to lessen the stench. The only thing down there besides them are two dolls hanging by their necks, or at least that's what they think. Suddenly, all three of them are running from what sounds like a creature with a low, throaty growl.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh, the police are over! Okay, you gotta go.
If this noise is real, then it almost has to be the end result of a terrible ritual that none of us are brave enough to see. Shortly after moving into their new apartment, this couple began to feel watched, so they installed a camera in the bedroom. A few nights later, they record a full-grown adult standing outside of their window. At first, he is so focused on staring into their bedroom that he doesn't even seem to notice or care about how obvious he stands out against the well-lit parking lot. When the couple inside walks closer to the window and gets on the bed, he tries to be a little more cautious but fails miserably. It's pretty obvious that he is still there and eagerly looking straight at them. He is about as close to the window as he can be, and he is probably really getting into the idea of watching them without being seen himself, not knowing that he himself is on camera. They can see him the entire time, and this is the exact moment that the boyfriend goes out and confronts the man, who quickly stands up and shows no aggression as he walks away. It turns out to actually be their neighbor next door. He came over and apologized the next day, but something tells me that this is a compulsion that he cannot help, and soon enough he will be back at it again, if not with them, then with someone else. This short video will send you running for the hills. Posted to Instagram by para_noid_normal. This video shows a woman tearing down an alleyway in fear. A second later, you see why. What is that creature? Those in the comments have some theories. After creeping down the alleyway, she lays on the ground for some reason and doesn't get up again. Then she simply disappears. In my opinion, the creature looks like a skinwalker. What do you think? A video of a human torso walking upright is probably one of the scariest home CCTV moments I've ever seen caught on tape. The main reason it looks so terrifying is because this is mostly a marionette puppet instead of CGI, which requires more work but looks more realistic. Somebody is most likely pulling its strings from above to make it walk, or at least I hope so. Watch your brains, there's a zombie on the loose. Published by Mr. Illusion in February of 2022, this YouTuber captured what he thinks is a zombie on camera. Dressed all in black, the figure lurches through the high grass. On closer inspection, he appears to be missing his cranium. Despite this, the crew follows this creepy figure, who also looks to be carrying a tool or small hatchet in his hand. He weaves through the woods. Off on a mission to do what? I'm not quite sure. Is this a zombie? Or something out of the mind of Ichabod Crane? A quarrel with a poltergeist has only one outcome. You lose. Published by Scary Desk in September of 2021. The computer shop owner is battling for his life. The man is seen on an upper balcony of his shop at night. It sounds like it's raining. He puts his hood on and heads back toward his shop, but the minute he steps toward the door, he is thrown onto his back, falling onto the ground. You see he appears to have been pushed by a shadowy force. A young man runs to his aid from an adjacent office. As the man points in fear, what did he see? The young man looks inside but finds nothing. He then helps the owner limp to safety. What did this to this poor man? And is it the end of it? Or is it just the beginning? This Russian dashcam video starts with a car full of friends gawking at a figure dressed in all black, who looks very out of place standing all alone in the quiet city streets so late at night. Something feels off about this stranger, so they decide to double back and take a second look out of curiosity. This time they get a much better view at the shadowy apparition and they all yell in surprise. The cloaked figure has stepped into the street and now faces them, almost as if expecting their return. The camera's quality is admittedly not very good, but I can't make out a single discerning feature of this person's face, which makes me wonder if they even have one to begin with. It's almost as if they were a shadow person. Then again, these friends kind of sound like they were possibly making a big deal out of nothing. With that said, something about the figure's silent, menacing posture and the way it stands in place makes me think this could be a spirit after all. If you've never come across a sadistic shadow, then you don't know true fear. Think you're brave enough to face it? Then keep watching. The footage shows an empty stairwell. A young woman appears at the top, descending to the hallway, when she abruptly turns back as a dark shadow enters the stairwell from the doorway below. The vague shadow then disappears into thin air, but then appears again moving up the stairs. Solifidian in the comments has a theory about the shadow ghost's movements. He writes, hypothetically speaking, a ghost may not have any real physical limitations, so maybe movements are not going to align with how physical matter moves, but it appears it is absorbing all visible light frequencies, so it must be comprised of some kind of particles. What do you think? Is this particle-like shadow ghost something worth investigating? I certainly think it is. There's only one thing scarier than a ghost sighting. A ghost sighting you. That's what Garments 1 claimed to have caught on video in a churchyard in Estholt, United Kingdom. The footage opens on a shot of a church. After panning down, the distinct figure of a girl peering around the corner of the building comes into view. She quickly darts back and out of sight, and when pursued has disappeared into thin air. The shot pans back to the corner, up the building and around, but the ghost girl is nowhere in sight. Whether you're a believer in the paranormal or a skeptic, this video will make you look twice. Hina Tahir and her sister are camping in New Jersey's Double Trouble State Park when they notice a strange woman who is half submerged in a local lake. Her clothes are all white, and she has a serious expression on her face as she sways in place. To this very day, the two girls aren't sure if what they recorded was a live person or a ghost. If it was a person, then I have absolutely no idea why they would be in the water, well, fully clothed. And if it was a ghost, then maybe her body is lurking in the shadow waters below. Whatever the case may be, Hina and her sister decide to leave the woman in peace and dare not go any closer. These friends are too busy gathering around a campfire to notice something is scampering behind them.
Well, you've been sharpening it for like 2 hours.
Just out of reach, watch it again.
Well, you've been sharpening it for like 2 hours.
The furless creature moves on all fours in an unnatural way that resembles no forest animal I've ever seen before. If it's not computer-generated imagery, then perhaps this is footage of the rake or some other forest beast.
It's creeping me out. I lived here for going on 7 years. I walked 100 miles through these woods. Never seen that shape before right there.
That's the reaction of James Jones after finding a strange human silhouette standing motionless in the Tennessee forest. What's especially perplexing is how James should be close enough to see the person's facial features, yet their entire visage is shrouded in darkness.
It's not a broken tree or whatever. I don't know, it looks like it's connected right there, but it's not. I've been over there 1,000 times.
Even if this was a tree, there's not much of a reason for it to be completely dark instead of the same color as every other tree around. It almost looks like the figure is wearing a colonial style hat. Maybe it's the spirit of a soldier from the Revolutionary War, or maybe they were a soldier in the Civil War. Let me know what you think it was, and if you think James was in any trouble on that day. This is one of the more popular videos that many people feel is clear evidence of Bigfoot. The video looks a little too blurry for me to be sure, but I don't recognize this scene from any movie or television series, so it could very well be real. If it is real, however, my only question is why this 5-second clip is so short. Maybe this person became afraid for their life when spotted and abruptly ran for cover. This video is believed to have happened sometime in 2001. A person is walking around what looks like to be an old basement when they think they notice something on the floor.
What the hell's that? Right down on the floor. Right there.
The footage is too grainy to see, but I think he may have been looking at a shoe, or even the top of someone's head coming out from just behind the door. Suddenly, he looks up and sees some sort of white apparition glaring back at him with lifeless glowing eyes. I guess that it could just be someone who is dressed up, but there's something about his reaction that seems genuine. A restaurant worker named Bogues182 says that he uploaded this video from his place of work. Some trays clatter to the ground when nobody is around. I guess he thought it was weird enough to check the tapes later that night. This is what he and the work crew saw. I suppose that someone could have been off camera throwing trays, but I'm not sure exactly where they would be standing when this happened, if that were the case. If you've been watching Scary Countdowns for a while, then you've probably come across this video at some point. What other channels don't bother to tell you is that there's an additional 2 months worth of evidence to analyze. But first, let me start with this viral video of their fateful first encounter. On May 3rd, 2011, a strange man who they've never seen before randomly stands outside of the apartment of a YouTuber named Andrew J. Neese. Andrew and his girlfriend do what most people would do and dial for help. Here's the original phone call with the authorities. Tell me if you think it's real.
And he's just like looking up at the window. He's been there for about 30 minutes now. Yeah, male, maybe about, I don't know, maybe about 30, I guess. I can't tell.
There's never an actual voice on the other end, which makes me suspect it could be staged, and I thought 911 operators were trained to stay on the line until police come. That's not what happens here.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, that's where most channels leave off, but this is actually just the beginning. What most people don't know is that there's another 911 phone call made by his girlfriend the very next night on May 4th to anyone who has ever worked in emergency response. Tell me if this second phone call sounds legit or if they're just pretending to talk to someone.
I'd really like you to do something about it. Yeah, my boyfriend already made a report. We're at there's a parking lot behind our house. Yeah, 6:50. Okay, thanks.
Another night passes, and the figure returns, silent and wide-eyed as ever. Andrew gets upset enough to say something this time, and look what happens to the camera when he does.
Hey! Hey!
I don't know what's going on.
A red flash occurs at 58 seconds, a brief electronic disturbance possibly induced by an intensive wave of emotions, perhaps a telekinetic reaction to getting yelled at. I only say this because the exact same curious red flash happened 6 days later on May 12th, except this time, their stalker is not even there. They simply sense him and then the flash appears.
He's not even there!
Alright.
And by June 17th, it's gotten to the point where Andrew's motion sensor camera keeps zooming in on a figure that simply isn't there. The equipment is having trouble focusing. In other words, on the very same spot where their not-so-secret admirer had stood for over a month straight. So is Andrew manually making it go out of focus, or is there an invisible phantom figure really standing there like he says? But I'm getting way ahead of myself by mentioning the events of June. That's a particularly bad month for them, and we still aren't done talking about May 8th to be exact, when they first started to suspect the perpetrator could be supernatural.
Hey, look, he's throwing the window.
His arms are at his sides, and yet something pings off the window.
Fuck, I don't even see him throwing anything.
Oh my god, how is he doing that?
And sure enough, there's another odd flash at 1 minute and 6 seconds, like something's feeding off the peak of their fear, growing stronger. No longer is the watcher satisfied with leering at them from the corner. He now wants inside. A full month of harassment accumulates in scraps of paper, all saying the same word, hello. Apparently, this is some form of psychotic social interaction for whoever's doing this. A creepy game they are just beginning to play. Time only makes the man grow bolder. By June 20th, the tapping is all over their windows. It's the sound of someone's finger against glass, and yet there's no silhouette to be seen. Either they are behind the couch tapping, or they're somehow making this noise from the alley outside. Left on the window is a picture of this creepy smiling face with X'd out eyes. Only someone who's really into the idea of tormenting two totally innocent people would bother drawing this. let alone deliver it in person. Little does Andrew or his girlfriend know they are less than 1 day from seeing him up close for themselves. On June 22nd, there's more tapping, which is not even that unusual by this point. And so Andrew's girlfriend goes to the window thinking that no one is there. She throws open the blinds, still recording for evidence, and waiting for her is the watcher himself, closer than he has ever been before. It's hard to see, but at 47 seconds he's holding an illustration of the same grisly face as before, X'd out eyes, this time with a message that says hello in the same handwriting as the scrap notes left by their door. I doubt he just wants to only say hello for much longer. Soon he will probably be saying goodbye to them, probably moments before he ends their lives. So if he's standing outside of the house in May and outside of their window by June, then he will probably be standing somewhere inside their house by July. Thankfully, they managed to move out before my theory gets put to the test. Now in a different location with iron bars, they finally feel safe for the first time in months, but their hopes of a peaceful life are shattered by the 1st of July when a familiar figure slides in. Something's off about this extra blurry entrance. He doesn't walk into frame so much as simply materializes, and come to think of it, I've never actually seen him move before. Then when it's time to leave, he vanishes, leaving only a faint trace as he walks. It could be the camera, or it could be editing, or it could be an actual ghost, in which case this may have been the last video, but I doubt it was their final encounter. This video was taken during service at a chapel in the Mexican city of Saltillo in June of 2016. They zoom in on the statue on the wall that just, well, opens its eyes and looks at them. My first thought was that the camera coming into focus is probably what makes it look like it's opening its eyes. If not, this could also somehow be a trick of the light, but then again, this still image taken at 1 minute and 4 seconds shows the eyes are totally closed. This image at 1 minute and 10 seconds is taken at roughly the same distance and shows the eyes are definitely now open, so my other guess is computer effects. Annie Bennett and her boyfriend move into this old farmhouse 2.5 years ago and have been experiencing a lot of strange happenings ever since, particularly in this blue dining room. The instruments tend to play by themselves over the years, but for some reason this piano has been getting all of the attention lately, so it's where they decide to set up the camera. Hardly anything at all happens in part 1, which is 10 minutes long and slow enough to elicit some angry comments from people too impatient to get all the way through. But then there's some good moments that I want to point out, like how at 4 minutes and 17 seconds there's a strange light on the wall for absolutely no reason. It doesn't look like a laser pointer and it never happens again. Then the clock strikes 2:19 a.m. and mysteriously pops open. I see no string and no other way for them to have done this, but maybe you do. I suppose now is a more appropriate time to share more about the history of this farmhouse. There used to be an old woman who lived here all by herself. They say at 2:19 in the morning was the exact moment when she is said to have passed on. She was said to have been musically gifted. At 2:19 is also where the Spencer piano seemingly plays by itself. So this high note is conveniently coming from a key that's not even on camera. Obviously Annie or her boyfriend have to be sitting off to the side, or at least that's what I thought until I saw this next part. Okay, so that's not supposed to happen. I'm thinking that maybe the piano wires are worn out and old, which can sometimes cause a note to play by itself, but I don't think that's why, because nothing like this happened for a full 10 minutes prior. This tray and clock move at the same time. One of them could have pulled the tray by the corner that's off camera, sure, but the way the clock's open is something I can't explain, and as the night wears on, the spirit becomes stronger, able to play more. Please tell me this piano is one of the old-fashioned types that can play by itself. Otherwise, I have absolutely no idea how this is possible. And even if it can play by itself, I've never seen a piano that can do what it does at 5 minutes and 49 seconds. Self-playing? Maybe. Self-shutting? No way. I guess Annie could have slammed the lid shut while off camera, but after this reflection fades away like someone is sitting down, I can safely say I've officially run out of rational explanations and can only assume this to be paranormal. And I don't care if someone is sitting off camera or not, there's no way for them to play a piano with the lid on. I can't even explain half of these paranormal occurrences, so I have to conclude that this farmhouse is almost definitely haunted by someone who refuses to accept that they've passed on. The last thing you'd want to see in a mall closed at night is a kid, or even worse, a child ghost. That's what a mall security guard in Brazil purportedly recorded at 2:30 a.m. The video was later submitted to Reddit. In the clip, you can see a small figure moving up what appears to be an escalator at a distance. What an escalator would be doing on at 2:30 a.m. I'm not sure. When the security guard races over to the escalator, the camera pans up, but there's no one in sight. It's also unclear if the escalator is still moving. Then it pans around, and behind him in the darkness, you can see a child figure in white skipping across the linoleum. BNRP in the comments translates the Portuguese. According to him, the security guard says, "See, what did I tell you? Look at her there. This is the second time I see her this week. I had to film this to show people because nobody believes me when I tell them. Don't know about you, but I believe him now." If you've ever been down a mine shaft, you know how eerie it can be. So imagine hearing these sounds while you're down there. YouTuber Retro Electroville published this footage in June of 2011 of a mine shaft in Del Sur, California, in the Mine Canyon area, writing, "We come across an open shaft with creepy sounds coming from it." Creepy is right.
I think it's on the right.
The sound is a strange hissing noise that seems to be coming from deeper within the shaft. Of course, whatever is making the creepy hiss is out of view, so we can only guess as to what the source might be. Is it a phantom? A pile of snakes? Despite knowing the true source, the sound still gives us goosebumps. Security cameras often capture things we'd rather not see. This footage, posted by Redditor jhood3119, reveals a creepy-looking creature ambling in the vicinity of this upstate New York security camera. A friend installed a security camera because his dog kept freaking out for no reason, jhood writes. And it seems the dog was freaking out for a reason. As you can see, a figure passes into view, moving strangely and seemingly wearing a headlamp and holding a flashlight. But then halfway across the snow-packed yard, the figure completely vanishes, although a flashlight beam still appears at the right side of the screen. What could this be? Well, some in the comments of this thread consider the possibility of the supernatural, saying the figure's strange walking and eye shine is creepy and inhuman. But others are not having it. Human or paranormal, what do you think? Based on the dog's reaction, there's definitely something there. Ever caught something in a video that freaks you out beyond measure? Joey Shade did in 2018. Shade writes, "I put my phone down on record to see what had been taking things out of my garage. I noticed a second video I did not record that showed something move the phone closer to the door, but saw what looks like a hand of some sort. Shade begs viewers to tell him what this freaky fingered creature is. It's hard to tell, but whatever that thing is, I think it's time to move. Whatever the case may be, that hand certainly looks menacing to say the least." Sometimes anger comes in the form of a crazy woman guarding her property. For YouTuber Jack Z in May of 2018, this was the case. Jack explains that he and his friends were riding along a trail they'd never explored It led to a stranger's property, but it wasn't clear that they were on private property, as there weren't signs or fences around it. And in the video, it really doesn't appear private. It looks like a forest, a free-for-all. According to Jack, as they were heading out, a woman came out of nowhere and started confronting them.
I'm sorry, get up! I'm sick and tired of you bull! This is the first time here! Bull! You guys are here all the time, scaring my horses!
Grabbing hold of Jack's backpack to throw him off balance, which led him to busting his brake on a downed tree that was in front of him. As he climbs out from under his bike, she can be heard screaming at his friends as well. She then gets in his face, saying that him and his friends are there every weekend on her private property, scaring her horses. Jack writes, "Moral of the story is to be careful of what trails you choose to follow. It seems to me that this chilling event was just one big misunderstanding, and I hope this woman doesn't choose to act this way in similar future situations. Warning to young explorers, don't enter abandoned malls at night." Jaskinho published this footage in September of 2018, illustrating exactly why. Explaining that the mall in question is Charlestown Outlet Mall in the US, he writes, "This is an older video I thought I'd drop for you guys. The mall closed for good over 30 years ago, and I did record a video here before, but there was talk about the basement level, so we went in. While the first 9 minutes reveal your typical exploring of the abandoned mall, 9 minutes in, one of the crew peers into a dark room beyond, and that's when he hightails it out of there, followed closely by the rest." One of the bunch says they were running for nearly 5 minutes. According to the one who first ran, he saw someone in the room beyond. Although the video didn't capture the figure, we can only imagine what this group came across. And with that in mind, I think they made the right choice getting out of there ASAP. Walking down an empty hallway can sometimes send shivers all over your body, especially when the hallway looks like this. Spurgburglar from Washington in the US uploaded this spooky video in 2016. He says that his flat is upstairs, and he makes his way through this hallway in the middle of the night 6 days a week. The hallway in and of itself is spooky. The sound on top of it is nothing short of ominous. The noise certainly is thumping and rhythmic like music, but it's unclear what it is or where it's coming from. It gets louder as the uploader approaches the end of the hallway and the beginning of a new one. A new sound enters into the mix, like a heart pounding. While the thumping declines, the heart pounding remains. Then you hear some sort of haunting music enter in faintly, before it escalates the closer he gets to the elevator. The video of the hallway also distorts a bit. Your heart races as you anticipate a jump scare from something unknown, but when he pushes the elevator button, the audio disappears. What could this possibly be? I don't know if I want to know. Some videos on the internet can haunt you. February 20th, 2003, Station Nightclub, a Great White concert. The headliner takes the stage seconds after they open with their Billboard hit Desert Moon. Pyrotechnics are launched by the tour manager as part of the spectacle. Little does he know that the acoustic foam located in the ceilings and walls around the stage will soon go ablaze. Most initially believed it was part of the show, but soon the crowd began to understand that this was not a controlled incident. The band's lead vocalist, Jack Russell, said into the microphone, "Wow, that's not good." Before some of the band and their entourage fled the stage via the west exit, a stampede towards the main exit resulted in a bottleneck and trampling. Cameraman Brian Butler for WPRI-TV of Providence was there that night filming for a piece on nightclub safety. Some of his footage was released to national news stations. If you're wondering if you can stomach the footage, take notes from Redditor Buffalady87, who writes, "The worst part is in the beginning there's so much screaming. Then as people are running outside you realize it's actually pretty quiet. Not because people calm down, but because you are actually listening to the people still inside." Is that a ghost in the window? Posted to TikTok by Trina M. Ward in the video. Trina says she's at the Martin house and that nobody lives here, is supposedly haunted. According to Trina, a man went crazy in the home and took the lives of his whole family. Some say they've seen the children's ghosts in the home. Trina was driving by randomly when she saw this in the window. The figure on the second floor looks like a child. Some notice a larger figure standing behind the child. Several in the comments warn that the child ghost is not what it may seem. Shay Zombie writes, "Children's spirits don't stay on this plane. It's a demon trying to draw someone in. Don't be drawn, or you might become the next person this house draws in." Some urban explorations go from 0 to 100 pretty quickly, and this is one of them. Published to YouTube by Chris Hopkins in June of 2020. While exploring an abandoned naval base on a cold, windy night, as soon as Chris and his crew walked into this building, they heard a loud bang right beside them.
Over there.
Still, they decided to explore the rest of the base. No harm done until they were getting ready to leave. After walking through the woods, as they were squeezing through a hole in the fence to get to their car, they heard what Chris describes as a Bigfoot or a ghost chasing after them. He says it again sounded like it was right next to them.
Holy!
The demonic roar is heard at least 2 more times after they get through the fence. Chris says they were running so fast that his friend lost his phone in the escape. Of course, other than the creature with big feet, there are other theories. Some think the roar came from a wild pig or a goat man, and some agree that it does indeed sound demonic. Any other ideas? Those ones already have me terrified. Unless you're touring abandoned asylums or reputably haunted sites, you probably wouldn't expect to capture anything mysterious on camera, but this individual did just that. This video has been making the rounds all over the internet and we tracked it down to its original source. Published to YouTube in January of 2019, JJPD Producciones writes, Mr. Luis Reyes was traveling to Nicaragua for the first time. He went on a tour of tourist areas of the country, specifically to the Tizcapa viewpoint. He recorded the landscape, but did not expect to capture what you will see next. What you see looks like a giant crab insect or alien-like creature, maybe all 3 combined. The creature is standing on a rooftop, then it walks to the edge and jumps over to a courtyard, out of sight. While many congratulate the uploader on the special effects, some are willing to suspend their disbelief, but upon further investigation, it appears this channel specializes in special effects. So my explanation for this video is that while it's quite scary, it's most likely CGI. Empty roads at night can be quite sinister, especially when this happens. Posted to TikTok, Leslie Alexis writes that she and her sister went out to get ices at 2:30 in the morning. When they arrived at the first stoplight on the way out of their neighborhood, it was green, but the white truck waiting at the light didn't budge. The pair beeped, but it still didn't move. They eventually went around. They went and got their ices and returned home. On their way back, the car was still sitting at the light. They passed it, pulled a U-turn, and drove by again, trying to see if there was anyone inside, but the windows were too tinted. Some in the comments were worried the driver might have had a medical emergency. Others think that they just fell asleep or passed out at the wheel. In part 2 of the video series, Leslie explains that they returned home and told their mom, and she drove them back to the stoplight. Once there, the car was gone. It was 3 a.m. Coincidence? Maybe, but it makes you wonder what exactly happened here. When a scary video isn't self-explanatory, it's time to break out some armchair detective work. But even if you're Sherlock or Enola Holmes, you'll have a tough time connecting the dots of this video. Published to YouTube in March of 2012, Ghosts Are Real 66 writes, "Been taking video of local cemeteries for a while and examining them from frame to frame. Found the image of what looks like a ghost of a young boy from around the early 1900s by the way he is dressed. The video was taken at Kinder Cemetery, established in 1902. While scanning some tombstones at a distance, a distinct flash is caught on camera. While zooming in, you can make out a figure, although you can't really distinguish its dress. YouTuber Mainly says that he's wearing suspenders and a white shirt, but that's up for interpretation. Some think it's a reflection in a car window, others are sure it's the paranormal, and I'm leaning towards the latter." This video is all the more reason not to work from home. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, Big Bo One Jord explains that a friend sent him this clip after he kept hearing things in the middle of the night. He started taking video to catch some evidence of the noise's source. In the video, the friend walks out into the hallway from his bedroom. As he nears his office, something very clearly moves out of view, but it's not clear what that something is. A Redditor who goes by the username Captain Fatbelly recommends viewers to turn up the brightness on the video. He writes, "It definitely looks like a person. I worry about the chance there might actually be somebody lurking around in your friend's house." Other Redditors agree that it looks like a person, while Scary Ninja Gamer says, "Your friend is screwed." We'd have to agree. Deep inside these tunnels lies something no one was meant to see. Published to YouTube in November of 2016, Connor Does Adventure explains, "We did not fake or plan any of this. We just started recording for a blog and this is what we found." Entering deep into a watery tunnel, the boys start to hear something.
No.
I can't.
They all freak each other out and start running towards an exit. At first you think they were just scared and adrenaline caught up with them, but it turns out someone or something was in fact chasing them. Once out in the sunlight, they stand at the entrance before heading into the tunnel a short ways again. A strange squealing sound can be heard, and as the camera focuses in, a figure is clearly seen, although it's unlike any creature you'd ever seen before. It's gray-skinned and alien-like, and it's marching towards them with a determined air. Any ideas what this is? Is it a madman? Or is it a watery tunnel creature? Most importantly, is this thing harmless? Or should they be running immediately? Don't wait around to find out. When ghosts just won't leave you alone, what more can you do but investigate? Published to YouTube by Ghosts of Carmel, Maine. In December of 2017, this 4-part paranormal series has it all. In the first video, the homeowner explains that the ghosts in his home just won't leave him be. He welcomes the good ghosts to stay, but the activity has skyrocketed.
Not the one that's saying it. Hello? Is anybody in here?
He says they're constantly saying his name. In the first video, while running the spirit box, the spirit tells him, "It's me." When he asks who's in here, the spirit says, "Just you, Kent." The spirit also tells him, "It's my house, I need help, Rachel's in trouble." All throughout the clip, he hears other EVPs and disembodied voices, even without using the spirit box. In parts 2, 3, and 4, as the investigation continues, he and his wife regularly hear disembodied voices throughout the home. Often the voice cusses, tells Kent to get out of there, asks for help, or tells him to be careful. When he's in the room with what he calls the witch's window, the spirit is even more vocal. It says, "We're not done, they're all weak." Kent also sees faces in the porch window, which he believes are spirits. After listening to all this, it's not a stretch to think that something bad happened in this house. And could that be what is causing the paranormal events that are happening in this house? A YouTuber named Nugget Noggin is exploring an old abandoned home one evening somewhere in the deep south. He's been here only once before, and it gave him such a strange and foreboding feeling that he couldn't take it anymore and he had to leave. Now he's mustered up enough courage to come back and check out the rest of the house. He wants to get up to the second floor.
Alright, I got this little door here to keep the air from rising up, I reckon. I don't know. Could be somebody up there. Oh man, somebody's standing on it. Cause I sure can't lift it up.
Much to his dismay, he finds a door has been laid over the top of the stairway so that nobody can get through. He tries to push on the horizontal door. One moment, it feels as if a heavy force is standing on top of it, and the next moment, the weight is suddenly gone, and Nugget Noggin can get upstairs. Some rooms give him the same weird feeling that made him flee before. He remembers that the front door was kicked in. Possibly someone broke in. Maybe a family was living here long ago and things did not end well for them.
Won't be able to sleep. Look, there's a light on in there. That's odd. There's a mirror. You know what time it is?
Nugget Noggin doesn't find much else and leaves. When he's reviewing the footage, however, he does notice what could be the face of a small girl. Take a look at this picture and tell me if it looks like anything paranormal to you. The Menzier Hotel in San Antonio, Texas, claims to be one of the most haunted areas in the entire state, and there are plenty of videos to back up this statement. One of these videos involves a brother and sister who both suddenly get a strange feeling from the building and decide to start recording. They are exploring a very small and cramped area of the hotel. As they are discussing the possibilities out loud, the woman suddenly announces that she is extremely uncomfortable. You can't see it very well at first, but soon the camera zooms in and reveals 3 deep scratches along the woman's bare shoulder. They look fresh and sting badly. She says that she was simply sitting on the steps for just one moment, and the jagged marks appeared as soon as she stood up. Judging from this video, it looks as though she may have been literally cut by an angry ghost. Avery is almost 2 years old. He's happily babbling away in the kitchen when his mother starts to feel a strange presence. This has happened a few times before, so she decides to start recording. Normally, her child is very quiet, but every once in a while, he will become very active and start having a conversation with someone who neither of his parents could see.
Who are you talking to?
Avery's mother finds this behavior very perplexing, so she starts to ask him over and over who he is talking to. Finally, after the 3rd or 4th time, she gets a sinister reply.
Who are you talking to?
Her child looks over his shoulder, almost as if someone is there. When he turns his back to her, a raspy voice says, "Ryan." Listen again with the sound up if you don't hear it. I guess this voice could be coming from Avery, but it sounds like it's coming from someplace much closer, almost right next to the camera. It almost sounds like a slightly different voice than Avery's. Maybe Ryan is a ghostly pal who is looking to make a new friend. A man is cooking in his kitchen when a black mist appears behind him. Look for it on the left side of your screen. The man has his back turned and does not seem to notice what's going on behind him. What's especially strange is how the black mist starts to back away from the door when the man heads into the other room. Once the homeowner is safely out of view, the mist turns very dark and quickly darts in front of the doorway. No clear explanation has ever been provided, though I'd like to hear yours. Whatever the thing is, it's never been recorded again since. Okay, so this isn't a video per se, but it was too eerie to pass up. This was recorded around 10 years ago in a home in Philadelphia. The family kept hearing noises coming from the basement, so they decided to hire a paranormal team who placed a recorder down there and waited. Nothing happened for 3 days, and then at 3:12 a.m. they recorded this. The horrible recording continues to go on and on, seemingly forever. No video evidence was ever produced, but these possibly paranormal screams will continue to live on YouTube for years to come. Him and two of his friends are going to explore a house that is legendarily haunted. According to local lore, this is a place where devil-worshipping members used to perform rituals, and the surrounding area has never been the same since. Beyond this information, all they know is that its general location is somewhere deep in the woods. They follow a trail and eventually come across a large abandoned house in the middle of the night. The three of them all get a strange feeling and instantly know that they are in the right spot. The door is open and they bravely march inside. Beyond a room filled with strange scrawlings, they find a dark room that stinks like something rotting. Dolls are hanging by their necks. Just when they are about to leave, they suddenly are approached by something that comes up from behind.
Did you hear that?
A strange and unsettling gurgling noise follows them as they run out of the house and into the open night air. Whether this was scripted or legitimate is anyone's guess, only they know for sure, but even still, they may be too shaken to talk about it. I am looking for more information about this scary video because I could not find the brave ghost hunter who caught all of this paranormal evidence on camera. This house has a dangerous djinn inside, a spirit bent on scaring the ghost hunter away. The door seems too far away for him to be opening it with his foot.
أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Later, a bucket on the floor mysteriously moves all by itself seconds later, and when he looks up, this shadow figure is caught in the light of his camera, and when he turns around, nothing is there, but the carpet flutters as if a stampede is coming through. I don't see how they are faking this part, so I am inclined to believe this might be real paranormal activity caught on tape. The Three Haunted Explorers is the name of a paranormal YouTube channel that doesn't need to go exploring very far to find something spooky. That's because a scary ghost is already haunting their room, or so they claim, and this is the best paranormal evidence they've caught on camera so far. They set up a night vision camera. Soon they've caught the ghost moving stuff like cabinet drawers. Part of the drawers aren't shown, so the ghost hunters might be moving it off camera. But just when I was starting to doubt whether this scary video was real, more objects begin moving on their own. On a table behind them, caught on camera, is the reflection of a possible ghost moving across the surface. They put everything back in place and wait. That's when the ghost knocks all of the objects over once again by moving a chair. The swivel chair continues to move on its own as if a ghost is pushing it. At 33 seconds, a mysterious shadow even walks in front of the camera. A ghost, the paranormal explorers would later say, although it could have belonged to them. Stuff keeps falling over by itself, which is creepy, but they could be crawling across the floor to fake the paranormal activity. I hope they make more creepy follow-up videos from a better angle to show us more of the room when it happens. A scary and mysterious possible ghost sighting is caught on camera by a YouTuber in India named Moombiker Nikhil. This creepy incident was caught on tape while passing through RA Colony, which he says has a pretty scandalous reputation to the point where everyone knows not to be walking by themselves at night near there. That's why he was surprised when this happened late at night. A mysterious figure on the road seems to clip through his mirror. Watch closely and you'll see that they should have made contact in his opinion, and I agree that it's awfully close. Tell me what you see, and more importantly, if this alleged ghost really has a missing head. JP Videos is exploring a seemingly haunted abandoned house when he gets some really scary stuff caught on tape. The place has fallen into a state of disrepair, and it only gets creepier when they find rotten steps leading into the basement.
Alright, let's go down the creepy spiral staircase. got hooked.
The mattresses look to be cleaner and newer than anything else down here.
Creepy mattresses down here. It's like a partially finished basement, but just random mattresses laying around.
And the blinds are pulled closed like somebody has been sleeping here recently. Hopefully there are no strangers down here because a surprise encounter would probably not be pleasant. The basement stretches across many different rooms. JP is getting all of the hidden rooms on camera when some really scary stuff is caught on tape.
These are my favorite type of explorers too, just abandoned houses, you know, seeing contents from the former owners and just trying to imagine what took place here.
A lone crib on display in the center of the room gives him a nauseous feeling.
What? This, okay. Little creepy.
Fastened around the top is a plank of wood with other pieces of scrap wood laying nearby. When tied over the top with a rope, this crib becomes more like a cage that is too small for even a toddler to stand in. Multiple mattresses in the corner create the impression that this building has been overtaken by numerous squatters. I seriously hope no one was left to fend for themselves in that crib. No food or water, hopelessly and cruelly trapped under these two boards. This paranormal activity was caught on a camera that's displaying an incorrect time. A YouTuber named For Your Viewing Pleasure thinks they have caught a ghost on video sometime around 3 a.m., not 1:24 like the camera says. Regardless, some creepy moments have been caught on tape as their home CCTV system plays back a bizarre ghost-like in front of the camera. Another thing that's weird besides the ghost is how the background goes totally black for 6 seconds and then even stays black for 1 second after the ghost is no longer caught on tape. For Your Viewing Pleasure says they hope this is a bug, even though they think it's probably paranormal. One person suggested that he has not caught a ghost sighting on video, but a moth instead. These creepy moments caught on camera from 2 to 4 seconds do look like possible wings in motion when slowed down, but I'm not sure what to think. Both sides have good arguments, so take one final look and tell me if this looks like a paranormal security video to you or not.
Alright guys, I just got a call about an abandoned National Guard armory.
Movement was detected on a motion alarm system, and now a safety officer named Beam32 Getsum tries to convince himself that he's not scared as he approaches a building known to be very scary and haunted.
Now some people around here say that it's haunted and blah 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 blah. I don't think it's haunted. You know, that's just stuff that scary people say. It's not haunted.
He almost successfully calms himself down until he gets to the entrance and finds the door wide open.
We're going in. Oh God, please don't let me die. Please make yourself known. Do not jump out. Thought I heard something.
He knows he's in trouble when his flashlight begins flickering while he walks down a long dark hall, a classic sign of the paranormal rapidly draining his equipment of the battery life.
Brockton 306 to dispatch. What the f***? What's going on? Yo, what's going on with my light?
He steps into a well-lit hall and waits for backup when the paranormal strangeness ramps up, and it's all caught on video.
I need you to send me additional units. Where are my additional units? See, this is
The lights in the hallway turn off and on, much like his flashlight was doing. He runs into an actual police car at the end, so I think there might have been real paranormal activity caught on camera at this haunted building. Lizzie Arts is freaked out in her own home because a ghost is haunting her.
Just woke up to smoke alarm.
Weird things are caught on camera all of the time. Really creepy stuff like when the ghost kept setting off the smoke alarm all night.
I'm home alone. I know which one it is. It's my one. It's right over there.
The ghost seems to turn the smoke alarm on upon her mention.
We have 2 more smoke alarms in the house. There it goes again.
And instantly stops when she yells at it.
You need to stop that! Oh no, that scares me.
There are 2 other smoke alarms that the ghost is not bothering with, just this one by her room. I think she should try changing the batteries and see if it still happens. If that doesn't solve it, then that means this video is really paranormal with more creepy videos to follow, I'm sure. A YouTube channel called Sanders Fam has a bizarre sighting on their Tesla motion tracking equipment that they think is a paranormal ghost encounter. The dash icon displays a mysterious figure where none is to be found. Detecting invisible people is something their car has never done before, and is quite an odd coincidence considering they're passing through a cemetery at the time. It accurately detects 2 people a good distance away at 3 minutes and 39 seconds. It keeps happening on the same corner of the same block, the icon of someone riding a bike dashing away from them.
There it is.
They are getting creeped out and wonder what it is. That's when they realize around the corner is the final resting place of a YouTuber named Corey Lavery. They talk about him for a while, and then as they drive away,
there's nobody there.
Now he's walking that way.
Something walks by his grave. Now that is certainly a strange series of events. A YouTube channel called Meet the Vloggers goes exploring a haunted cemetery in the United Kingdom in search of an authentic ghost encounter, and they think they've caught a bizarre moment on tape. After a tight squeeze, the 3 of them are in and immediately feel surrounded by negative energy.
First, we've just come into the haunted cemetery and we're gonna have a look around. It feels really eerie, like really starting to get dark a lot as well. We're staying here, we're doing exploring, man. This girl doesn't understand what exploring means.
One already wants to head back while there is still light to be had, but is quickly persuaded to stay. Night falls and their unwavering dread reaches peak levels.
100%.
I'm waiting. Oh my god, I'm so scared. What?
One of them, Layla, sees something ahead, but nothing is caught on camera. Aside from an empty walkway, no ghost sighting, at least not yet. Little do they know a 4th person is moments away from joining their trio. They take a few steps forward and Layla begins to freak out again. She must have a 6th sense or something, because this time there is frightening paranormal evidence.
This is so creepy.
Come on, man.
No, I'm actually bugging.
There's a guy behind us.
A strange and mysterious figure silently approaches them without saying a word. Keep in mind this is after hours, and they themselves had to sneak in through the gate, so whoever this is, they are not likely a visitor. That leaves a maintenance or security, but if that were the case, then they would have said something to 3 people trespassing. Night has fallen and they are on their way out when they hear some really scary noises that prompt them to move a little faster.
Wait, turn off the torch.
What is that? I don't know. Go see what they're doing first.
Across from them is a humming, crying noise coming from some kind of candlelit visual that they don't want to investigate. If they did, they might have encountered the scariest ghost sighting ever caught on camera. Outside of their apartment, a husband and wife capture a strange reflection in the window that is too curious to ignore. They grab an infrared camera, and this mysterious, unexplained video is what they've caught on tape.
It feels like I'm picturing an old woman. There's nobody sitting there.
Nobody. Bizarre.
At the very beginning of this video, 3 seconds in to be precise, a full zoom does appear to have caught a possibly real ghost sighting on video in greater detail. You can discern a tuft of her white hair, the folds of her robe, her older looking face, and what direction she is facing, theirs. As soon as they turn on the lights for a better look, the figure is gone.
That was bizarre. Same window. Same window, and there's nothing there now, no matter what I do. Bizarre.
And when he switches the camera back into infrared mode, the mode he first detected the spirit with, it does not return.
There's infrared. Right there on that curve. I know it. Right on that side. It's back to normal. There's just nothing there.
It's almost as if nothing was ever there to begin with, and yet the paranormal evidence caught on camera proves at one point there was. Maybe they were holding something up to the glass to make it reflect this image and took it away, though I don't know what that something would be. A bizarre dashcam video has caught some weird moments on the highway in Puerto Rico. This driver has their door open while going full speed. It looks like they've somehow forgotten to close it until 22 seconds when a hand reaches over to make sure it doesn't fly all the way open during a turn. I guess the door was broken or something, in which case they really should pull over because that is incredibly unsafe. Hopefully they never have to make a sharp turn or else somebody is spilling out onto the road. A group of friends are hanging out, basically making a random video to pass the time until their power comes back on. They nervously joke about a number of different scary things that could happen to them while huddled together in the dark when a creepy moment actually does occur.
You are an idiot.
This is every time, ladies and gentlemen.
You.
Oh!
What?
I just saw something outside.
We're not that stupid.
No, seriously, guys, I saw something outside.
No one believes him when he tries to explain that they were being watched in the window by something bizarre outside, but I certainly saw it, and if you didn't, trust me, soon you will. He's creeped out and zooms into the area where he last saw it run off to. That's when he catches a glimpse of the mysterious figure again.
I see. There it is. See that?
What was that?
She's there.
Oh my god, okay, I'm scared, guys.
A strange humanoid creature is crawling on the wall on all floors. They lose sight of it, but that's because it's only seen when it wants to be seen. Soon its frightening face fills the window, glowing white eyes and all. In an instant, it's gone again until they see movement in the bushes.
What is that?
I don't know. Shh. Oh my god.
When you look at it up close, you can tell it's definitely wearing clothes, maybe a collared shirt underneath a hoodie. So this is probably a skit in just one of their friends. Still, the glowing eyes and lack of a face are freaky. I hope they are special effects and not a humanoid on the prowl. All of them rush outside for a confrontation. One of them brings their arm down while holding something heavy, and with a sickening crunch, it's all over.
You have the flashlight!
Cindy McDonald is a paranormal communicator who has been into ghost hunting for many years. She has a YouTube channel called Soul Guidance that's full of bizarre explorations in various haunted places, but to be honest, the best paranormal evidence I've seen in a long time are from these videos taken in her very own home. After years of paranormal expeditions, I guess it was only a matter of time before something came back to haunt them. The creepiness begins on November 17th of 2017. That's when her beagle Mozzie begins acting strange. Every little sound bothers her and puts her on high alert. She seems especially wary of the brown chair, or rather the backpack that's on it, which they take with them on every investigation and may have a paranormal entity attached. They tell any spirits haunting this house to leave, and eventually the dog calms down. 9 days later, they run a paranormal experiment on their house to see if they can capture any ghost sightings on camera. Their ghost hunting equipment soon tracks a ghost standing on their coffee table, who slowly but surely make its way to the couch. I just want to add that I don't see how their software could be mistaking a bare white wall for anything remotely human. Also, based on the timing of this next clip, I think this creepy moment is both real and paranormal.
Can you say hello? Oh, there's two.
Another wireframe figure appears in the doorway when she tells it to say hello.
Now, just to show, don't you move. This is what we're filming, this area right here, so there's nothing it can map in. It's just mapping in two figures.
They continue to see the same ghost well into the next year, and as the months go by, it becomes more friendly and comfortable around them. Here it is lying on the same couch as before.
Can you wave? Can you stick out one arm? I think I see you waving that hand. Wave one more time so we know it's you, please. Thank you. Good job.
They seem to have achieved some kind of rare bond between our world and theirs that I've never seen before. Also attached to their family is a little ghost child who is slowly remembering what it was like to be alive.
Would you like to hold my hand? Can you reach over and touch my hand, please? Thank you. Touch my hand. You got it, baby. Don't be afraid. You know I would never hurt you.
Even when it leaves, there's still a small black impression of paranormal energy left in its wake. It makes sense that the ghost of a child would attach themselves to a backpack, since that's an item they would be familiar with. And not too long ago, they visited a boys' detention center that was quite haunted, so maybe that's where the ghost child followed them home from. While they were exploring that haunted building, however, they encountered a much larger shadow figure that gave them a bad feeling. Hopefully this ghost didn't follow them home too. For those of you who haven't heard or don't remember, on August 13th, 2018, a man named Chris Watts made national headlines after taking the lives of his two daughters, Bella and Celeste, and his wife Shanann, who was 15 weeks pregnant. Two police investigators and a special canine handler now search the Watts residence on August 14th, one day after Shanann was reported missing. They are confident that their dog will be able to sniff out any DNA evidence that Chris Watts may have tried to scrub away. What they find instead is an abundance of paranormal evidence as recorded by their chest-mounted camera. Like this part where I hear the unmistakable laughter of a child as they pass through Bella's room at 12 minutes and 32 seconds. Listen for yourself, there's no denying it.
There's plenty of first things in here. Yes.
I'm hoping that was a motion-activated doll or something, but I doubt it, especially given what else they hear in the next room over. A voice says something like, "I have CC," which is short for Celeste, and they are standing in the room of Celeste too. Then again, I think it could be the canine handler saying something under her breath as she checks the closet, so maybe it's not paranormal after all. Things get weird once again as they enter the garage. Another voice, a woman this time. But it could be the officer whispering something to herself. Moments later, they pass by these containers in the garage. Containers Chris was believed to have used to transport the bodies from the house into his truck. The dog sniffs them, but everything looks clean.
Something that set him off down in this area.
As they are walking away, they record this. It's a wail of agony coming from all directions at once. But that's not all. The most compelling evidence occurs in the very beginning, but I've saved it for last. Check out the top of the stairway on the left when they first enter. There is some movement that I find very strange. It could be a trick of the light playing across the rails, but I see a little girl rushing down the steps. A girl with a short haircut. She vanishes before she reaches the bottom, and this event also coincides with a shadow figure sighting recorded by police on a different night after the home security alarm mysteriously went off on its own. It's in the same area and roughly the same size as before. A poor girl lost, looking down at the entrance and disappearing before she reaches the bottom of the stairs. This video was reportedly taken by a Navy patrol boat off the coast of Chile in South America. What appears to be a gigantic, slow-moving UFO is soon confirmed by both the Navy and a nearby air traffic control tower to not be one of their own. I was thinking maybe this was an ordinary blimp or a helicopter, until it emits some kind of inky mystery substance at the 8-minute 18-second mark. The camera cuts away for a bit, and then approximately 5 seconds later, you can see the substance has solidified into a thick, clumpy mass. As if that isn't weird enough, the UFO then detaches itself from the mass, which hangs completely suspended in midair, and keeps on going until it's no longer in sight. I have certainly never seen an aircraft do that before, and it doesn't look normal at all. If this is not edited, then I have little doubt that this visitor is from another planet entirely. This video was posted on my subreddit by someone in Palo Alto, California. For well over a minute, these large lights jump all around the sky, changing direction seemingly at random without logic or reason. After a while, the mysterious lights slowly lower to the ground, almost as if landing somewhere unseen.
Yo, what is that?
Oh my gosh.
They're like moving around.
Look at that.
What is that?
This landing maneuver strongly suggests that this is some kind of controlled aircraft, though exactly what it's being controlled by is anyone's guess. The person who posted this video claims to be a pilot, and has absolutely no idea what this could be. I thought this could be an experiment with flares, but they say military flares are much smaller and move differently. Whatever it was, I would be particularly worried because, according to his estimations, the strange lights apparently landed about 20 miles from his house. A YouTuber named Craig Wilson was doing some home repairs when he noticed a small hole in his backyard. He opened it up a little more and was shocked at what he found waiting down below.
This hole goes down, down, down to a giant cavern.
It's a gigantic earthen cavern extending a full 16 feet straight down. Craig wonders out loud if this was natural or man-made. As he continues to videotape from a dizzying height, Craig quickly had the hole filled the next day, but he'll never forget about the huge underground threat that was once threatening his home. He and his wife think that it was probably a well, about 60 or 70 years ago, but they aren't positive. I'm just relieved that the hole didn't widen while he was standing over the edge. A YouTuber named Charles M is checking out an old house for sale in Las Vegas that was supposedly owned by the mafia. At one point during the tour, he comes across a fake wall in the kitchen and follows an old set of stairs down to a secret basement. The basement extends for a long time further and further underground, eventually opening up into a long white room that's completely bare, except for cabinets lining the far wall. Connected to this room are two other smaller rooms about the size of a closet. They each give him a bad feeling. The two smaller rooms are dark and soundproof. Strangest of all, the doors only have knobs on the outside. I don't know why the mob would have needed a soundproof room that nobody could escape from, and I don't want to know. That's all he finds. Hidden inside the ventilation shaft of one of the rooms is what appears to be a single spent bullet casing. A man enters a restaurant in Split, Croatia, and helps himself not only to a chair, but to a customer's belongings as well. First, he enters loudly enough to make two women turn around and take notice. He was probably on a fake phone call and tried to play it cool, but fails miserably. He pretends to hang his jacket up on the chair and stretches out to try and swipe this black backpack. It doesn't work, and so, undeterred, he tries again. This time as one of the family members gets up, and he's about as close as he can be to getting caught here at 41 seconds. And so he knocks it to the floor while the older man is busy swapping out a more comfortable chair, covers it with his jacket, picks it up, and dips. They must have thought the odd fellow simply changed his mind about eating here. Only later did they realize he had gotten away with one of their travel documents. Obviously, this man has practiced this technique many times before and probably targeted them because they looked like a tourist family. He has yet to be caught in the past 4 years and most likely never will. So the next time you're at a restaurant, watch out for any odd characters sitting at a table near you. Ricky Velasquez is the name of a YouTuber who goes to a small Mexican coastal town called Bajos de Mimoaja to investigate what they refer to only as an enigma. This area is where a woman once took the life of her son. He is led here by a respected village elder who stands before the wall and prays, hoping to get a communication. Meanwhile, Ricky walks around the perimeter and records what could be a woman's voice at 2 minutes and 15 seconds, perhaps the same woman who took the life of her own child. Ricky documents this spot with special tracking equipment for ghosts. I doubt you will ever see anything, but he knows what to look for, and so will you after I show you. Okay, check out this still frame at 25 minutes and 20 seconds. I'll point an arrow at the human-shaped figure and circle the demon-like shaped figure that's shrouded in shadows, red horns and all. This alone terrifies Ricky, but he doesn't want to interrupt his guide, so he quietly goes to where he saw it. He turns on a special bulb and detects movement where it was last standing. It's hard to tell if this movement was a shadow person or just his own hand, so you tell me. Either way, fear makes him ditch his guide and run into the dark woods, a decision that he instantly regrets. Crouched in the shadows is the shape of a boy and a coyote. Apparently they were watching from the shadows until he accidentally stumbles upon them. So ask Ricky and he'll tell you this legend is all too real. Casey of a YouTube channel called Surviving Louisiana took up ghost hunting as a hobby some time ago, though lately, ever since he was contacted by a spirit named Seth, his hobby has become a way of life, and not necessarily in a good way. He wakes up to a feeling of paranormal discomfort, so he pulls out 2 pieces of ghost hunting equipment, a program that lets him communicate with spirits, and an EMF meter to measure electricity in the air. He tells Seth to stand in front of the EMF meter, and sure enough, the ghost seems to respond.
You guys make this light up a lot? Oh, good job. Good job. There's a lot of you here, huh?
The EMF meter holds a steady beep like a heartbeat, and the spirit box lets out a sigh. Seth is not afraid to tell Casey how it feels.
Very upset about it. Anger.
I think whatever program Casey's using is real, because he says out loud that Seth is upset, and then it detects Seth saying the word anger in response, or more like growling it. It kind of sounds like he says anger too when you slow down the growl.
Anger.
They try to joke around with Seth, but the spirit is having none of it. Their mirth makes the green bars spike to orange, and their EMF beeps faster than ever. Go away, it writes. Casey thinks it's telling them to put away their spirit equipment, but I'm pretty sure it's ordering them out of their own home. That was on May 20th of 2020. 11 days later, Seth barges into their bedroom late at night for another session of angry EVPs. It says 3 scary words, and notice how the EMF meter beeps excitedly when Casey repeats them.
Anyway, it says can't hear you, and we're trying to figure out if it's threatening us or if it's explaining to us what's happening. We don't deal with threatening ghosts.
Keep in mind, this beeping is coming from a different piece of equipment, the EMF meter, which is on the opposite of the bed. It always seems to beep rapidly before the spirit box speaks.
Are you bad? Or are you good?
I definitely just heard a woman's voice say my baby more clearly than anything else so far. I would probably be out the door or even out the window by now, but I guess after weeks of paranormal activity, Casey and his wife are used to Seth, and so they carry on, and that's when things get morbid fast. They show sympathy to the woman with a missing baby, and that's when Seth comes back through the box to unleash some more messed up phrases.
Well, I'm sorry you're not with them. I'm guessing. Shovel? Getting any money out of this, because I'm not. Dispose. Ooh, growling.
My baby, shovel, dispose, growling. Just saying these words out loud creates enough of a picture for me, but then Seth really drives his psychopathic points home with another final phrase.
I've never seen it go that high. Hurts. Do you hurt?
I think he does. Not himself though. Instead, those around him. A YouTuber named Will Rubio explores the inside of an old Utah jail with some friends to see what's left behind. Everybody is in high spirits and one of them laughingly gets inside of the cell to recreate what it must have been like to be locked up. All of them are debating whether or not this is a working lock on the door when they find out the answer by accident.
Is there any lock on it? You think? No, I think it's a magnet. Holy You're joking. I'm not kidding.
As they fumble around the darkened area trying to find the controls, he struggles to get out and soon discovers the doors are as strong as ever. Finally, just as true panic creeps in, they manage to unlock the cell and set their friend free. Otherwise, they would have probably had to call emergency services and would have gotten in serious trouble. While planting trees, a YouTube channel called Homesteading Off the Grid accidentally records the eerie cries of something shrieking deep in the forest. If you know what kind of animal this is, let me know, because many people claim this sounds like some kind of mix between a human and an animal.
Did you sound like it's screaming at me, yeah.
Oh wow.
They don't hear anything for another 6 minutes and decide to stop recording. If this was a person, it sounds like they were in serious need of help. Nevertheless, that shriek is enough to give anyone chills. This dashcam video was supposedly taken near Hanoi, Vietnam, and was posted on Facebook where it spread to the local news. In it, the car soon pulls up to a figure dressed in all white standing in the middle of the road. The drivers are quite concerned that this individual is standing in the middle of a pitch black road, alone besides one street light above. They don't ask the person anything. Instead, they quickly drive away. While many online thought it was a ghost of some kind, news agencies have said that this was a woman who is not mentally well and was possibly attempting to take her own life. Let's hope she got the help she needed before it was too late. This old VHS tape from 1999 could have captured a ghost, but I need your help to tell if it's true.
If you look to the right of the two tombstones, you can clearly see a figure standing there dressed in white.
I definitely see the ghost in question, especially when you zoom in. There's actually a surprising amount of detail, and I can even make out the buttons on their shirt and possibly a long musket. At the same time, I have some other possible explanations as to what this could be. This could be the open space between two trees, in which case the vivid details are nothing more than a random arrangement of branches. This could also be a cemetery statue from afar. This was taken way before high definition, so it's hard to tell for certain, but I'd still like to get your thoughts. A laughing child runs from one room to another and something horrifying seems to playfully chase her. The shifting shadow follows closely behind and then disappears as quickly as it came. Some people say that this is just a bug on the lens, but I don't think so. Look again and you'll see the formless blob squeezes itself directly around the corner. I have heard of spirits sometimes befriending a child before possessing them. Hopefully that's not the case here, but whatever this is, I sure wouldn't want it anywhere near myself or my family. A YouTuber named Simo Vlogs explores an abandoned building, which he and his friends stumble across a room on the top tile floor with upside down humans. They are taped many times over, and there looks to be no breathing holes. This room looks like some kind of art storage room, so maybe these are just projects. I'm not sure why they would be wrapped and hanged up like this, so if you're an artist and know what's going on here, be sure to let me know. I'm pretty sure that this video isn't real, because this room would probably stink way too bad to go near, and plus the smile doesn't exactly look like the face of someone who just came across a psycho's secret stash, but that's just my opinion. A YouTuber named Benny Loco is on a desert urban exploration in a bunch of abandoned houses that are empty, or so she thinks. She steps inside and looks to the right, no one, but standing on an opposite side of the room, under some drapes, is a silhouette that she thinks is some kind of animal figure because of these supposed ears.
Boudoir. With a bunny in the window. Creepy bunny.
But all I see is a hooded figure staring at her through a thin piece of fabric. This is one of the only times I've seen somebody laugh off a ghost sighting and not check to see what it was. All of the windows are blocked, so I guess she could be looking at a piece of cardboard or something. But since something just moved in that room and then disappeared, I have to go with paranormal activity on this one. A YouTuber named Rose of Decay records a scary Snapchat face swap video that leaves her wondering if she had a real ghost encounter.
Hi. Are you bad?
What's really creepy is how this mirror image kind of has her eyes, but at the same time they're all black. The bizarre face goes away for a while, and then comes back as soon as she has a question.
Can you talk to me?
This time the apparition has its mouth open wide as if screaming. It's probably just a software glitch detecting a face in the mirror that isn't there, so I don't think it's necessarily real, but I don't see anything that remotely looks like a face. So hey, that's real enough to me. Seeing an alternative version of yourself scream while no one is there is definitely creepy nonetheless. Based out of the southern city of D'Armanville, Exploring Alabama is a YouTube channel that takes on the creepiest abandoned places in the entire state. One such video is an abandoned church that's in the early stages of decay. Inside is a mess but still structurally sound. Some rooms are too dark and creepy for him to willingly go into, so he mostly stays in the more well-lit areas and continues to explore until he gets his share of footage. As he's leaving, something compels him to take one last look in the main room, and that's when he records it. Some are calling this a mysterious creature, while others say this is only a stray cat and nothing more. It's too far away to tell for certain, but I think it's interesting and worth talking about. So what do you think? Urban exploration videos in abandoned places are perfect settings for ghost investigators to explore, but sometimes they find more paranormal activity than they are ready for, and that's when their paranormal investigation becomes mysterious, unexplained, and most of all, really creepy. This YouTuber is exploring an abandoned building when they hear some potentially paranormal poltergeist activity coming from upstairs.
These are all the staff bathrooms.
Here's a dinosaur.
You hear that thud? Alright, Kobe, I'm throwing this in the toilet.
As they slowly climb the steps, the first thing they notice is how much darker it is up here. The last thing they notice is the poltergeist that comes straight at them and then disappears.
We should definitely go one at a time, dude.
Absolutely nothing is there at 1 minute and 24 seconds, and then you see its head, and then something out of my nightmares is dragging itself across the floor. A Nepali YouTube channel named Anish Gurung TV are not full-time ghost investigators, but they do have some paranormal investigation videos in abandoned places that get pretty creepy. An apparition seems to follow them on one of their urban explorations. This is when they first hear it. I want to say that this is the wind, but it's a calm night and this sounds way too much like a haunting moan. They reach the top and look around, feeling the presence of a ghost near them at all times. There's nowhere else left to explore, so they go back to the bottom and are about to leave when they hear it again twice. but I've saved the best paranormal evidence for last. At 4 minutes and 20 seconds, they capture these eyes and a sigh from behind. They didn't hear or see it at the time, but like I said in the beginning, they're not professional ghost investigators and missed some of the scariest things caught on camera. A kid is reading something off a website when his friend says something that makes him pause. Tell me what is being said here if you can.
Una bomba que puede explotar en cualquier momento.
A wild face at the window sends him sprawling backwards in his chair with frights. There's no playing that scream off. He was seriously afraid for his life. He must not have seen the camera hidden in his friend's lap, and he never expected one of his other friends to jump at him from the window with a crazy look in his eye. But at least he saves a little bit of face by regaining his composure quickly and laughing along with them. Still, nevertheless, having someone peeking through your bedroom window is certainly a nightmare. These ghost investigators have some paranormal evidence from a haunted house on video that I'm trying to decide is real or fake. They claim these lights are not coming from traffic, which I believe, but it looks awfully similar to the high-powered flashlights they were using earlier in the day. Does the beam look the same to you? Next, they claim to have picked up this sharp whisper, but I think it might be a camera strap sliding over the mic. Do you hear it? If so, what do you think? A YouTuber named Johnny B. Good goes ghost investigating at an underground memorial deep in the woods to see if they can uncover any evidence of the paranormal. They notice these rocks are in a strange formation that I think could have been used for some kind of black magic.
These rocks were placed here in a circle once, in this one corner. Why is there a hole right there?
Sure enough, holes are in two corners of the room. Could this be part of the spell? They ask if this place is a portal, and look what their K2 meter does in response.
Is that a gateway to you? Yeah, okay.
And here's where it goes from creepy to downright sinister. Their UV light detects two blotches of fluid. They could have come from some kind of vein opening ritual that never should have been. A Canadian YouTube channel called The Soul Catcher suspects that this clown doll from Ontario feeds off the energy of the living. So they perform this experiment to see what paranormal activity they can catch on camera. Watch this and tell me if you think it's real or fake. The clown's arm moves by itself as soon as the clock strikes 3 a.m. I suppose it wouldn't be too hard to set a clock to 2:59. Wait a minute, and then move the clown's arm with some fishing wire. So while this doesn't completely prove the doll is possessed, it's definitely strange. In this second experiment, the YouTuber removes the haunted clown doll's hat and places it on his knee. After 20 minutes, this happens. It looks like the clown is reaching for his hat, however his arms sound heavy enough that it could have been positioned in such a way to fall over time. The YouTuber wants to know why the other arm didn't fall, and to answer his question, I think it's been positioned so that the hand is more in the middle. So while these two experiments are not conclusive, that he may have had a haunted doll on his hands, and I encourage you to check out the rest of his experiments on his channel. A paranormal investigator in South Korea called D-Doc Mikol stands in the entrance of an abandoned apartment building with a haunted reputation that few dare to document. He means no disrespect to the spirits inside and is simply recording paranormal evidence out of scientific curiosity. Nonetheless, he only gets a few steps inside before he sees an object is moving by itself.
누구세요? 누구세요?
A ghost pushing over a box is creepy, but not scary enough to stop an experienced ghost investigator like him. He keeps exploring the building, and thus the objects keep moving.
잠깐만. 아, 씨.
Instead of running away in fear like most, he is bravely willing to examine an object after a ghost moves it. I don't see any strings tied around this stool, but I guess someone could have pulled it away by hand. Just when he is about to leave the room, the poltergeist refuses to be ignored. A shelf tips over by itself. I thought somebody could have been hiding on the other side of the door, but look what happens when he checks the room.
이거 여러분들 잡기는 아닙니다. 이거 잡기는
A second full-size shelf somehow falls out from within the small space behind the door, which is not big enough for a person to fit behind. And when he checks behind the door, at 6 minutes and 4 seconds, you can just barely see a shadow figure caught on camera. Down a different hallway, the ghost hunter sees one of the doors leading into a dark apartment is open. He knows a paranormal entity is near, and when he investigates a little further, this scary moment happens. One thing I especially like about D-Doc is that no matter how scared he becomes, he always makes it a point never to back down. He looks behind the door and into the empty apartment and finds nothing there. I see no strings attached to the sandals, especially during this close-up taken at 8 minutes and 59 seconds. Then again, this could be fake because the sandals take tiny steps and never actually leave the ground, which is not how a person walks when you think about it. Anyway, he finds slippers in front of another open door and experiences the same scary events. This time he actually stepped foot inside the apartment and verified that it's completely empty. When he picks up the slippers, you can clearly see there are no strings attached, so at this point I'm creeped out. Finally, while setting up an experiment to detect paranormal activity inside of this apartment, a mysterious figure briefly appears in the hallway. Was it a ghost caught on camera, or was it a prop? The Cooning Ghost House is a famous cottage in Ireland that has been haunted for over 100 years by a terrifying poltergeist who was possibly brought about by a witch in the family. Not even an exorcism was enough to rid the house of its curse, and so the family fled into the woods. Now, members of a paranormal research team called NK Hauntings are ready to go exploring the abandoned building in search of the legendary poltergeist and other scary things they can find. The investigation gets off to a rocky start when they jumble their words while addressing the spirit that resides there.
If there's anybody with us, you can communicate. Sorry, I'll start that again because that made no sense.
But something must have understood what they were getting at, because a possible ghost orb disappears into one of them shortly afterwards, perhaps selecting the ghost hunter with the most agreeable aura. The team puts down paranormal devices that will only light up when something taps on them. Just standing near the device or walking by will not set off this paranormal equipment, but a ghost touching it will. It isn't long before they hear scary noises even though there is no traffic and no wind. They're arguing about which direction it comes from when they hear it again. More scary noises.
Look, it will come from that direction rather than that direction.
No, I can't even hear it out here.
There, your cap, hold that up beside Alex.
Here's the paranormal sound again. Some kind of rising noise just before their paranormal equipment detects a ghost tapping on it.
I can't even hear it out here.
There, your cap.
Just to be sure, they all stand away from the ghost hunting equipment and ask the poltergeist to tap their equipment again.
Or light up another, oh my god.
And when the paranormal energy resides, they are able to summon the spirit again just by casually talking about it.
This poltergeist that used to torment the family, it used to bang around up the stairs apparently in the loft area and...
Capo.
They note how cold it is in the vicinity where the poltergeist is believed to be standing, and the complete absence of life and warmth overwhelms them all. The trio activates a ghost listening device and picks up 2 words you never want to hear in a legendarily haunted house at night.
Murder. Was there someone hung here?
I think an EVP of a woman's cut-off scream in reply to this morbid question certainly counts as a yes. In the very beginning of this creepy video from India, a man is riding on a motorcycle and then he's suddenly on foot. So I guess he must have broken down in the middle of nowhere and has to walk to the nearest town. After a while, he sees somebody else and is relieved to find help. But when he gets a better look, his hope does not last. The woman is wearing long white robes and holds her arms bent in a weird stance. The two do not speak and the man knows that she is not normal, so he doesn't even try. As she advances, he notices her face is abnormally gaunt and pale, the face of a zombie or someone close to their end, and the scary woman is making creepy noises too, barely human ones at that. She is not very coordinated and he keeps backing away to create more space, more amazed at this strange sighting than necessarily scared. The best look we get at her face is around 2 minutes and 47 seconds. Some say that this is a demon sighting caught on tape, and she has large dark circles under her eyes like a possessed woman, though I suspect it could be special effects makeup. He slowly backs away without taking the camera off her for a minute, never letting her slip out of his sight until he presumably reaches help in the next town. A YouTuber named Izzy-Centric is testing out his ghost hunting equipment on a creepy doll that's been possessed by a ghost for over 20 years. He sets the cursed object up in its miniature school desk, hoping to catch the doll moving on camera if possible, and he passes a ghost meter over it that is designed to catch the energy levels of any paranormal entities within. Sure enough, his paranormal equipment detects the presence of some creepy stuff lurking within the doll's demonic plastic shell.
Is this you here? What the? Are you kidding me?
Not only does the ghost meter register a positive response, it detects so much paranormal energy in the air that it crackles with an abundance of electricity. His wife joins him in the investigation and she's not surprised by the results. It was her doll as a child and it always did creep her out. Now it's her turn to ask questions.
Are you still here? It's not doing it anymore.
She gets no response from the nightmarish doll, at least not until she takes it upon herself to give it an insult.
Oh, little wuss.
Say what?
Said little wuss. Ooh, didn't like that, did you?
The ghost meter lights up angrily at this provocation, which signals to me that this is more than just a coincidence, and almost undoubtedly a doll possessed by scary things you wouldn't want in your home. If this video is paranormal, then hopefully it stays bound to this object and finds no way to get loose. This security footage shows a strange moving blur that distorts large sections of the floor as it passes by. A short while later, someone appears to be shoved from behind while walking by. It's odd how they lose their balance while walking across the exact same part of the floor that was blurry only moments earlier. Also notice how, for whatever reason, they immediately look down at the floor. Could they possibly be seeing something with their own eyes that the camera doesn't detect? This footage comes from the Lincoln County Courthouse in Charlotte, North Carolina. Deputies are watching the security monitors after hours when they spot a woman standing alone in an empty room. They rush into the nearby location to see what she is up to, and if she needs help. Not only is the woman still there, but she is totally transparent and they are able to walk straight through her. When the local news channel comes to investigate, they see the same ghost again, this time in the cashier's office.
While shooting today, we saw it again in color in the middle of the screen, just over Barbara Jones' shoulder.
Both times, the ghostly woman appears to be jotting something down in a notepad. Some people are suggesting that she could just be a reflection, but the news team could find nothing capable of replicating the highly detailed shape of a woman. If this really is a spirit, then who knows why she is here, or what supernatural secrets her notepad holds. Mega Chris 18 and his friends know about a creepy old courthouse somewhere in Corpus Christi, Texas. They sneak in through a hole in the fence and start exploring the outside perimeter for a way into the building. Last time they were able to get in through a broken window, but they're disappointed to discover it's been boarded up since. Mega Chris 18 walks up and curiously knocks on the wood and receives an unexpected response.
Hello? Hey, when I say hello, the light turned off and it turned back on.
The group quickly develops a method of communication with the possible spirit using the light on their camera.
Can you do that one more time? Can you do that one more time so all my friends can see that?
The ghost uses the camera light to respond to a series of true or false questions. They soon learn that they are talking to the spirit of a young female who is somehow trapped inside the courthouse. After a while, they feel its presence slip away and stop getting responses. I really wish I could have seen Chris's hands to see if he was messing with the light. This video could be real, but we'll never know for sure. The Stones River paranormal team is investigating a haunted courthouse in Tennessee when something truly bizarre happens. One of them is talking about how cold her hands feel when all of a sudden, one of the double doors leading to the bathroom unlocks and swings shut. The team tries to recreate the situation to see if it's just a loose hinge or a faulty lock, but this doesn't seem to be the case at all. The door has no problem staying open for the rest of the night and doesn't shut again. Long before this particular room was remodeled, it was used as a prison for captured Union soldiers during the Civil War. It only makes sense that paranormal activity would occur in this historic corner of the courthouse. For months now, a YouTuber named Bogue731 has been receiving unwanted attention from a man who rides the same train as him every day. According to Bogue731, this person would repeatedly attempt to touch and otherwise harass him while riding on the train. He has tried to tell him to stop in the past.
I don't want to be friends. There's nothing you can do to convince me. But why? Because you make me uncomfortable.
But this man will not take the hint. One day, Bogue731 turns around, drops the politeness, and makes himself abundantly clear.
Stop following me. Sit down and stop following me.
Eventually, a superintendent has to step in and take charge of the situation before it gets any worse.
Can you get him to stop following me, please?
Okay, somebody needs to get off the train and somebody sit down. Why are you following him?
I don't know.
She separates the two of them and leads Bogue to a different train cart so he can finish what's left of his ride in peace. Bogue is only there for a few seconds when he looks over and sees none other than his not-so-secret admirer staring him right in the face. Apparently, nothing he can say or do is going to convince this man to leave him alone anytime soon. A YouTuber named Combo Hugs notices a burly man acting very out of place in his apartment complex. For starters, he is peeking from around a corner and behind a bush with his phone.
Look at him. He's been sitting there taking pictures with his phone and watching people at the pool since like 10 minutes ago when I was walking my dog.
According to Combo Hugs, the man would act like he was busy on his phone whenever someone walked by, only to resume his photographic activities once they'd passed a safe distance. I will say that I did notice some small children in this video, which is why I'm glad Combo Hugs called the police and alerted the apartment manager shortly after recording this as evidence. Jamie West is on vacation, and earlier that day, she and her friends had a brief conversation with some random boys at their hotel. It's late at night when they get a knock on their door and find the same group waiting for them outside. Now Jamie and her friends are nervously watching from the other side of the door, trying to decide what to do. It kind of seems like it could be some innocent back and forth flirting until one of the strangers gets even bolder. They record Jamie and her friends through the crack in the door, encouraging them to come outside in hushed tones all the while. Jamie goes deeper into the hotel room and doesn't answer the door. Let me know if you would have done the same thing, or if you would have taken the chance and opened the door for them. Lately, Louise Paxton has been scared out of her mind while staying alone at her house. She says that every night a tall man dressed in all black stands outside of her door without saying a word. Now he's back. She goes to call the police, only to find her cell phone has not been charged. At this point, Louise feels enough is enough. Blade in hand, the terrified woman unlocks the door and confronts her stalker for a final showdown. She swings open the door and finds absolutely nothing on the other side. The wind picks up and howls down a cold, empty alleyway. Judging by this video evidence, it looks as though this person is an incredibly sly stalker, in which case I'm sure her problems are only just about to begin. I hope she's alright, but it's been a long time since she's posted anything to her channel. Are there paranormal happenings recurring in your home? This YouTuber can relate. Published to YouTube by Youngboy Lloyd in March of 2020, Lloyd asks viewers for help as he believes there's a ghost in his home. He shows video proof across a series of 3 clips. The first part shows him watching something on TV when a plant falls over on its own accord and rolls off the entertainment center. When Lloyd moves to pick it up, it falls over again and he gets scared off by something unseen. In the next clip, he takes action, burning sage to get rid of the ghostly presence, and as he does so, the chair at the end of the table starts moving. Lloyd doesn't notice at first, so the ghost forces him to, aggressively flinging the chair onto its side. In the last video, Lloyd says he's not going to allow a ghost to take over his house. As he's talking, a cabinet door opens behind him in the next room. A pot on the counter can be seen falling to the floor. Lloyd jumps up from his seat and tells the ghost to leave.
Eve, I think I'm going with her.
Did the ghost listen? I don't think so. Old tunnels are full of history, and often that history is fearful. Published to YouTube by IKS Exploration in March of 2017, this clip explores the abandoned Dover tunnels. According to the channel, this is one of the many tunnels bored into the ground to allow fresh spring water through without upsetting the ground above. Me and Chris don't feel good in this location. Strange sounds and hums can be heard. He also claims to have heard a voice that sounded like that of a girl. Wear your headphones to hear what they hear.
Just a...
As the pair wander through the impressive tunnels, they appear indefinite. Will the explorers make it out of here alive, or be left wandering this labyrinth for eternity? As noted, the tunnels have cracks in the linings, making them particularly dangerous. Today they are locked down and inaccessible to the public. Probably a good thing. Is this creature a Nina Pero like the Spanish-speaking YouTube community thinks, or is it something even more nefarious? This video is taken in Mexico. This creature is seen scrambling down the sidewalk on all fours, and not just for a brief moment. Other security cameras capture it continuing the four-legged walk all around the premises. It is seen scrambling around the building and navigating a narrow alleyway beside the home. While most in the comments are confused about what is going on here, a Redditor writes, "Somehow this is way more unsettling than all the cryptid clips I've seen. Cryptid or not, it certainly makes you feel uneasy. Don't leave your fun up to an app. It might take you on a journey to your demise." Published to TikTok by Stephen Donovan, he explains that he was using the Randonautica app to direct him on a random adventure. For those who are unfamiliar with Randonautica, the app delivers a set of local coordinates supplied by a quantum random number generator. In doing so, users are encouraged to explore the unexpected. Stephen's coordinates certainly delivered. Here's what happened. Randonautica sent these two on a dirt road through an abandoned ghost town. Creepy mannequins are standing in the windows of the empty wooden buildings. The mountain roads take them past empty cars parked on the shoulder. However, no one appears to be in the area. They pass a sign that reads private property, but they ignore it and continue up the steep, narrow road. It's getting dark and they are now on foot. The pin is pulled up and they are getting close to their destination. That's when they see it.
But we had the pin pulled up. We were so close to it. And this happened. I don't know how to explain this.
Something rolls down the hill from a broken structure, and in that structure they see what looks like a melted face. They take this as their cue to leave. TikToker Rachel Chun surmises, "Watch those cars be the ones left behind by the randonauts that never left." Steven notes that he deleted the app after this misadventure. After this, can you blame him? Posted by Footage Finder 57 to the Found Footage subreddit. You'll probably rethink your next camping trip after watching this piece of found footage. A group of people are hanging out around a campfire watching videos on a big screen and chatting. One of them notes that their friend Alexis went to the bathroom and has been gone for a very long time. They decide to investigate. As they're walking through the forest, a scream pierces the night. They start running towards it, shouting out her name. In the middle of the forest, they come across a strange teepee made of logs. When they peer inside, there's a person tied to a tree stump. And then, whatever four-armed or legged creature has captured Alexis comes after them too. The group screams. The camera is dropped and no more is heard. Redditor Tribal Transfusion 311 pulled a still shot of the creature. This is what we're dealing with. Although the origins of the video are unknown, this found footage is certainly one of the best quality if faked, and one of the most terrifying if not. Exploring abandoned houses for paranormal evidence is an activity that's as old as YouTube itself, as this early video taken in August of 2005 shows. The team of amateur ghost hunters are exploring an abandoned house from the street when activity within lets them know it's quite haunted. At 2 seconds, one of them points to an all-white apparition and they all take off. I don't think this is fake because video editing was not that common back in 2005, and when you play it in slow motion you can actually see the mysterious figure go from right to left across the doorway. It's bizarre, sure, but was it a ghost? The aggression with which some ghosts make their presence known can frighten even the bravest among us. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Mr. Miracle BR. The Redditor says this clip was tweeted by a police officer and reveals a strange, seemingly paranormal encounter during a police raid in Brazil. The footage shows what appears to be an abandoned building. The police approach to find a door banging repeatedly on its hinge. As they get closer, they see that it's doing so on its own. No trespassers are around. Nothing behind the door but an apparently angry plant. The man filming scans the door up and down, but nothing seems to explain the banging. The police hear something clatter to the ground somewhere far off and start running down the alley. Redditor Iselin draws attention to something else creepy in the clip, writing, "How come no one is pointing out the girl in the doorway at 38 seconds? Not sure if that's a girl. In fact, it's unclear what it is, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's very unnerving." Those who don't see it remain skeptical about the seeming paranormal activity. Redditor Bin Medi writes, "Ghosts do this, but they don't do it constantly." Well, there you have it. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit. The Redditor writes that this is the most terrified he's ever been. The scary footage shows an attic of an abandoned house under night vision. At the beginning of the clip, Connor hears a strange noise. He looks around a little and, from upstairs, captures something in the window on the ground floor. It's glowing. He decides to go investigate. Down at the window in question, there's absolutely nothing there. Nobody, no light. Next, he uses a spirit box to speak with whomever is in the home. Someone asks him to help and let him out. Another voice says to please leave. Admitting this gave him chills. Connor says this is probably the last time he'll return here. As he's walking into an adjacent room, a board is flung at him. He stops in his tracks and turns around to look around him. Nothing is there. In the comments, Connor explains, "It was a rock or a brick that barely missed. It flew past the right side of my head. That's why I'm never going back there, because I feel like I could have passed away. No kidding, there's something evil in this house, and it wants you to leave. You'd best listen." When you're playing peekaboo with the paranormal, it's never a game. Posted to the Ghost Video subreddit by Podcast Africa. The clip shows an urban explorer walking through an abandoned house. As he walks down the corridor, he glances in a room to his left. There's a big empty window to the room beyond, and in that window this peeks out, a shadow person or a real one. The dark shadow ducks down quickly and the explorer hurries over into the next room and finds it completely empty. So who or what is playing around here? Or are they even playing? Let There Be Light, posted to the Ghost Video subreddit by Zombie Foxes. The Redditor explains, the security guard quit after seeing the CCTV of an orb walking through a car park and turning on lights in the storage room. The lights can only be turned on with a sensor when you walk 4 to 5 steps in the bike store, which also requires a fob to access it. The video shows the car park in question. For a while, there's nothing to see here, but then the tiny white speck or orb floats slowly across the scene from the bottom right of the screen to the door. Just as it arrives there, the light beyond flicks on. Coincidence? Or is there just something here that we cannot see? If it's true that the lights are only triggered when a person enters, then who or what's inside? No wonder the security guard didn't want to stick around. When you happen upon a cave carved into a mountainside, you might want to think twice before entering. Published to YouTube by the Highway 9 in September of 2017, this video serves as a warning to never ever go caving alone. The footage takes you through a deep and dark rock-hewn cave. Along the way, bats are seen hanging from the ceiling, and a long black centipede-like insect is climbing the walls. But the creepiest part is yet to come. As the YouTuber rounds a corner, he senses something deeper in the tunnel. He presses on, peering into the darkness, and seems to see a figure beyond. Highway writes, "I'm not sure what I saw, but it scared the wits out of me." Needless to say, he fled the scene as anyone would. YouTuber LeeStat444 writes in the comments, "This is what happens when you enter a cave full of bats, dusts, and insects. You find Batman." Whether this unfortunate explorer found that or something much more nefarious is anybody's guess, but I'm gonna err on the side of the second choice. This bar ghost is one angry customer. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Zazie Malith. The Redditor claims this clip is video proof that the restaurant she once worked at was haunted. The clip shows security footage shot from behind the bar of the restaurant. A close-up reveals a glass sliding of its own accord and then appearing as though it simply hops right off the counter, smashing onto the floor. Nothing and no one caused it to fall. Zazie adds to the perplexity of this writing. The glass that fell was one of those wine glasses that are heavier on the bottom to prevent it from falling over, and was sitting on a non-slip rubber mat used commonly in bars. Just one more reason to call in sick. Ghost towns are abandoned for a reason. Published to YouTube by Ricky Velasquez in May of 2020. Ricky claims the devil appeared, writing in Spanish. I have no words to describe what happened. I don't think I can forget. This was filmed in a town in Mexico with around 250 residents. It's ostensibly a ghost town, and the duo's exploration of it is enough to run you out of town too. After doing some sort of ritual in the yard, outside an abandoned building, involving liquid being sprayed and fire being lit, the pair wanders around the grounds. As the cameraman takes in the surroundings in infrared mode, he spots something that gives him a fright. He decides to get out of there, hurrying down a dirt path. That's when he happens upon this. El Diablo disappears, but you can still feel him there. It's no wonder Ricky cannot forget. Moral of the story, if you call him, he will come. What would you do if you saw this happening in your home? Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Raymond Powell. Raymond writes, not proof, but it definitely freaked me out. Looking for advice. A screwdriver sitting on the counter is moving on its own with no one and nothing near it to cause such behavior. Raymond runs over to the cupboard, opening it to see if there's anything under the counter that might trigger it. He turns up nothing. Picking up the screwdriver, he looks around his home. When he starts hearing random pounding coming from above, he gets his step stool to open the hatch above his attic. He calls out a greeting, but catches nothing up there on camera. While some in the comments were waiting for a jump scare, others, like Redditor Everything is Dumb 0624, were trying to find answers. You either got a ghost or a person living in your crawl space, he writes. I'm not sure which one would be worse. When you reach the end of the road, you better just turn around, otherwise this can happen. Posted by TikToker Sharpski. The TikToker may have escaped something life-ending at the end of the road. In the clip, Sharpski is traveling down a dirt road in a field at night. As the group drives on, they see a group aligned in a formation at the end of the field. They say the figures look like they have heads. They conclude that they are people and urge the driver to turn around. If they are people, what are they doing at the edge of a forest at night? Well, some in the comments, like TikToker Chris Michael, think these are simply dual targets at an open range. Others require further proof. Neen writes, keep driving. I want to see from the safe distance of my phone. But since the cameraman wouldn't have that luxury, I'm not sure if he'd be willing to risk it all for us to find out what's really happening here. Christopher passes by a mysterious figure that everyone in the car thinks is really weird.
WRC edition, when is the World Championship dead?
He's in the middle of the desert of an unnamed Arabic-speaking country and hasn't seen anyone in miles and miles. Christopher says he was worried this person might be stranded, but when he turns around to help, they were gone. Well, more like disappeared. That's really weird if they are telling the truth because there is nowhere to hide. They might be facing the camera and even reaching out to them at the 29-second mark. What do you think? I can't tell if this is a person or a ghost sighting. Are they asking for help? Siblings sing happy birthday to the camera for someone who lives far away.
Zum Geburtstag alles Gute, zum Geburtstag viel Glück. Alles Liebe zum Geburtstag, Mama.
When they finish, one of them says something at 19 seconds that sounds like she might say mama.
Alles Liebe zum Geburtstag, Mama.
I don't know what she said, but mentioning her mother drops the mirror straight to the floor. And look, a pale apparition caught on camera in the reflection of the mirror before it happens. This video is probably edited, but if not, it looks like a paranormal entity has a problem with this family, or at least the mom. A married couple stationed at Fort Irwin in California are relaxing at home when suddenly their motion-activated baby monitor turns on to reveal some scary stuff caught on camera.
That's a little weird. I don't know what it is.
What they suspect is a small ghost hand waves at them excitedly. When they move the camera a few degrees over, it's mysteriously gone. It isn't long before the ghost hand reappears to wave at them some more. The backstory on this one is sparse. They say their house is haunted, but don't go into more detail. They also say the hand moves way too fast to be a human, and I agree that's true, but only because this is probably a piece of dust on something up close. Orkun Isitmak is a popular YouTuber from Turkey who goes exploring on all kinds of adventures. He's one of the few people willing to take a trip to the abandoned city of Chernobyl, a place where few dare to go after a nuclear power plant meltdown in the 80s left the area covered in radiation. He brings with him a Geiger meter used to measure levels of radiation, and a couple of scary moments are caught on camera. In this spot, the meter reaches about 50 units. That doesn't sound that bad, but then I realized an X-ray only takes seconds, whereas he's probably been standing here for hours. Big difference. And when he starts to go down here...
Radyasyonun kalbine giden kapı burası. Evet. Artmaya başladı. Yok buraya asla gidemeyiz.
The Geiger meter warns him not to. This tunnel is the heart of radiation, he says, and wisely turns around. The glare is covering the screen, so I don't know how many units the meter reached, but if it was in the hundreds, then permanent damage might have already been done in that instant. Later, as he's exploring a research facility lined with jars of old specimens, he finds a room with nothing but cribs, a room that no doubt has the scariest and most mysterious backstory of all. What was this facility working on, and why would they need to keep so many kids down here? A YouTube channel called The Proper People Vlogs is documenting their urban exploration trip to check out an abandoned power plant. This is the exact moment they knew they were in trouble. Tell me what you would have done in this situation. Run or stay.
There's a person?
There's a person.
Should we talk to them? Should we talk?
I probably would stay because running would only get you in more trouble. Anyway, at first it looks like they were trying to walk away, so I guess they were kind of panicking, but then they turned back around to have their translator talk it out rather than escape. As it turns out, this is security and they are not happy at all. Try and translate if you can, because they are about to get in so much trouble that their translator just says they should leave.
Does not seem good.
Based on what I've seen, it's a good thing that they get out of here fast, because I doubt the authorities in this country would have taken kindly to tourist trespassers. Nevertheless, I'm glad they got out of there safe. Unidentified flying device sightings, ranging from Manhattan to Brazil, is enough to make anyone at least a little nervous. A YouTuber named Lazara Black saw this bright soundless blip moving fast across a Miami night sky on March 19th, 2020. It pauses in midair and is soon joined by another ball of light that moves effortlessly and without noise. Whatever these are, they aren't a normal aircraft, and they certainly aren't slow falling flares. A second Miami YouTuber named James Black confirms this sighting with a second video, also uploaded on March 19th, 2020. The glowing orb is too big to be a drone and moves so quietly that you can hear the nighttime crickets chirping away. Listen. About a week later, this Manhattan sighting was uploaded by YouTuber Plumber33789 Peebles. What looks like a lightning storm produces no visible bolts, and then the same familiar lights rise together in a triangular pattern. All of them fly out of sight, but this final one simply disappears into the clouds, so I'm guessing that's what the rest did as well. Did we just witness a fleet of unidentified flying devices taking off? I think so. And I've saved the weirdest video video for last. This was taken on March 13th by a YouTuber in Brazil named Frederico Mueller, who has been seeing these strange lights for months now. This video proves that they are abnormally bright, perhaps even radioactively so, to the degree that they burn bright white even when behind a cloud in broad daylight. And his dogs are going crazy too, the kind of restless barking when danger is approaching. Not quite here yet, but soon. A YouTuber named JPays57 catches a 1.5-minute long slew of paranormal activity in a solid white room that's mostly bare. First a paper flies up, and then, with no one in the room mind you, a woman's voice says a single word I wanted you to interpret. As for the piece of paper moving, I don't hear the wind, and besides that, the paper actually blows towards the window, so that explanation wouldn't really make sense. A toolbox and a closet open at once, which could be coordinated between two people, but there's nobody in the room to pick up the camera and see who's in there. I hear a strange, otherworldly sigh. Do you? It sounds upset, and nothing like the woman's voice before. The closet door closes, and then the door closes shortly after. Somebody could be on the other side of the closet, but nobody is on either side of the door. I don't see any fishing wire tied around the knob, but I admit it's kind of too far away to tell, so tell me if you're convinced. A Facebook user named Andrea Collins believes one of her security cameras caught a ghost late in the afternoon on March 22nd of this year. And after taking a look at the evidence for myself, I think she's right. Ordinarily, I would say that this is a bug crawling across the camera, except in this case, it looks like a little ghost girl with a white dress and long black hair. It's also positioned perfectly in the middle of the screen, exactly where a human would stand. So my bet is that this is an apparition seeking help, or at least some attention. And if this is what Andrea sees in her yard, then chances are her house is haunted too. Roosevelt High is a school in St. Louis, Missouri, rumored to have been built on top of an old graveyard long ago. Now, a paranormal investigator named Soul Searching stands by the bleachers of a football field with a spirit box to find out if people were buried here like the local legends say.
Are there any spirits here?
4 seconds later, this voice comes through with a strong reply. When asked how it feels, the same voice replies with a flat answer that lacks all emotion, which I guess underscores its bleak point.
Are you upset?
I'm showing this so you can hear for yourself that all of the answers make sense and they're all coming from the same voice, so I think this is real. The final answer pretty much confirms it.
Is your body still here?
But just to be sure, Soul Searching moves on to the school itself, where a spirit confirms its presence when asked to do so.
Oh, that was a yep.
Here's the only part I'm not so sure about.
Can you turn the lights on now? It wasn't on before.
Soul Searching thinks the lights are off, but I think they may have been on the whole time. It's hard to tell though, so I will give her the benefit of the doubt that the light came on by itself, especially given how much paranormal activity was on the football field earlier. Maddie and Elijah are ghost hunting with a guide named Eric in an old asylum that has over 80 rooms of horror to investigate. Let's talk about this door. They think somebody scratched at it for hours, and I think that's what it looks like, but I seriously hope it's termites. To support their theory, these scratches at 10 minutes and 55 seconds do look like someone took their nails to the wall, as well in a fit of madness. Later, they hear this distant moan. I definitely think this sounds like a person, but let me know if you can think of some other explanation.
So that's it.
What the f- Did you hear that?
No.
So that's creepy, but what I want to talk about more than anything is what happens after Elijah makes the mistake of holding a haunted bridal doll. This crazy noise is the spirit's response to being asked what her name is. It sounds wicked and definitely like nothing I'd want to be in the same room as. Even Eric admits he has never heard such a harsh EVP come from that doll before in all his experience as a tour guide, and he also says nobody has ever touched her before, so I think it's real. And as further proof, look what happens when the doll is asked if she's upset about being touched.
Are you mad that Elisha came in and touched the bride?
Judging by this paranormal ripple effect of negative energy caught on camera, I'd say yes, she was. A YouTuber named Sydney Ghost Hunter records this strange noise at 3 a.m. It's definitely not his cat. Now, here's the weird part. You'd think this was the noise of a wild animal, but Sydney Ghost Hunter says he did not hear anything in real life, and I believe him because his cat never so much as looks up. A YouTube series called The Undervlogs follows Rachel, Kiva, Tyler, and Derek on their various adventures. This time, they're split up on a competitive scavenger hunt, checklist and all, in a creepy 1908 children's hospital that's been abandoned since 1998. Tyler and Derek are goofing around, but things become tense when they notice a creepy clown head with dripping red eyes that could be a warning of what's about to come their way. They sense something wrong and run away, and that's when, approximately 10 seconds later, this shadowy figure looks out at them, roughly the same height as the clown graffiti in the doorway, so I'm glad they followed their instincts and left fast. Earl Kirk Kendall captures a bright light in the sky, but it's not a meteor, lightning, or an unidentified flying device. It's his poor neighbor's house erupting. This video is terrifying because of how calm everything is before, during, and after. There's no warning signs beforehand, and seconds later, you'd never know a family's entire livelihood has gone up in flames. Even scarier, a cause for the incident has yet to be determined, meaning anyone in the neighborhood could be next. Gorman Sujin is inspecting his new apartment with a camera to document any damages left from the tenants before him. He gets through all the rooms and the balcony without problem, but after reviewing the video later, he realizes that he is far from being home alone. A woman in white appears suspended in midair. I don't see a rope, but I will say she is next to the shower rod, and her feet are not touching the ground. I wouldn't be surprised if this is what became of the last person who lived here. Jack Cook's son Michael has been acting strange for days, not like himself at all. He is normally a happy child, but he is visibly agitated during his birthday, and seems to channel all of his anger into a single act of defiance when it comes time to blow out the candles.
Day to you. Michael, make a wish. Cheer up, big guy, cheer up.
His father can't believe what he just witnessed and orders his son to do it again. Sure enough, Michael somehow is controlling the flames with his mind. The obvious answer is somebody is blowing out the candles off camera, but I don't hear anything. Watch the father's explanation and tell me if you think his emotions are real or simply good acting skills.
It's been a week now since Michael went into the hospital, and doctors don't know what's wrong with him.
A customer reaches for a drink when he begins to shake and sputter out of control. It looks like it could be a seizure, but he does not fall down right away, so some people say it's a possession. At the 48-second mark, he points to something only he can see and begins shrieking in horror. This is when he goes down a second time and does not come back up. One minute and 5 seconds into the video, you can see a ghostly figure in the reflection to his left that could be the spirit of his aggressor. Paper towels fly to the ground on their own shortly after in a further indication of paranormal possession. DJ Ashba has a YouTube channel full of videos regarding his music career, but one in particular is way different. This CCTV video captures some unexplainable activity in his private backyard. It all starts when a small white blip appears out of nowhere and flashes all the way across the patio. I want to add that this camera does not skip frames, and that the light actually was moving this way in real time. Approximately 10 seconds later, the door opens completely by itself. The door was not slightly open before, and it looks like a calm day with no wind. Coincidentally, the door that opens is also the same door that the white light appeared in moments prior. DJ Ashba checked the security camera after coming home to see his door open, and this video leaves him with no easy answers. The best explanation I have after reviewing the evidence is that this was in fact paranormal, especially considering his other videos are not like this at all. What do you think? Tyler Rowe works in a grocery store with a freezer that he and all of his co-workers are sure is haunted. First, it starts with these strange noises, almost like someone is trying to kick their way out. The kicking noises grow more intense until finally, at 9:02 a.m., this always happens without fail.
Here it comes.
This time, Tyler is determined to get to the bottom of it. He bravely marches in and documents that absolutely nobody is inside the freezer. Watch this part and let me know if you can see anyone, because I didn't.
Is there a light in here? And there's nothing in here. There's nothing, nobody, anything. It's just open.
I can't help but suspect that a past employee somehow got locked in the freezer one morning and did not make it. Now they are trapped in spirit, kicking the door much like they did in their final hours on Earth. If someone can give me a mechanical explanation of why the door would burst open by itself at 9 in the morning every day, I would believe otherwise. This radio DJ is live on air when all of the lights go out. Some of his equipment is still on though, so this is not a normal blackout. He is all alone and doesn't know what to do, so he calls someone for help, probably a management at home or technical support. That's when a cloaked figure passes by the window and makes him put down the phone. He creeps to the window and looks down the hall. Whoever it was is already gone. The next call he makes, I'm sure, is to the cops. According to him, this radio station has very high-tech security that requires thumbprint authorization to get in. Nobody should have been walking around after hours, especially not somebody dressed in ancient robes with their head down. This 4-part TikTok series is a journey. Posted by Breadcrumb and Beaver's Pit, the TikToker was working her shift when she spotted something creepy between a crack in the ceiling tiles. It looks like an old man's face or a shrunken head.
So I was staring at my ceiling right at work, and then I see this right, and I go over here.
In the second video, the TikToker reveals the outside of this building. She says part of the building was a school from the 1920s. She enters the kitchen. The face thing is still exactly where it was last time, seemingly peering through the cracks. She tries to lift the ceiling tile using a broom. At this point, she thinks it's either insulation or a rope.
Here's the legendary area. It's still there. Just chilling. The villain.
Next video sees her climbing up a stepladder to investigate. After lifting the tile, you don't really see the face thing, but you do see that there's a whole other room up there. In the last video, the mystery is solved. Lifting the ceiling tile, you can see what the object is. As the OP suggested earlier, a rope. What was it used for? The OP's theory is an old school bell, although you may think the saga is over. Some in the comments are seeing and hearing new mysteries. One hears something crying in this last clip, and some even claim to see a new person peering down at her. I am not personally seeing or hearing any of that, so we'll just stick with the rope. Mystery solved. Longleat Castle is a stately home in England, built in the 16th century. It serves as the seat of the Marquess of Bath, and apparently of a ghost. Published by Steve Hugh in March of 2013, this scary video shows the ghost in action. As the lights flicker overhead in a hallway, a shadow figure descends the staircase. You can see the figure's footprints take each step until it arrives at the bottom of the stairs, where it casts a shadow on the hardwood floor. There are clanking noises throughout the entire video and footsteps. They seem to be coming closer and closer to the cameraman. while the shadow moves further and further away. When the shadow figure disappears at the end of the hallway, the lights start flickering there as well. Is this genuinely paranormal? While many in the comments say this is compelling and looks legit, others say that this video is either edited or that it could be a hologram effect at Longleat Castle to freak out guests who visit. What do you think is really going on here? This TikToker has documented her neighbor harassing her for months. The following clips are evidence of the terrifying stalking posted to TikTok by Maddie Panic. Maddie writes that she lives alone and she's reported this neighbor several times. In the first video, you can see her neighbor through her peephole, waiting outside her apartment door. The video shows a man wearing a hooded sweatshirt, getting very close to the door as though he's listening in. The man's mouth is moving, but what he's saying is inaudible. He quietly knocks on the door. After no one answers, the man backs up and waits there. Later, Maddie captures what we can assume is the same man trying her doorknob. You can see the knob shaking, but the door is locked. Maddie looks out the peephole again, and you can only see the top of the man's head, like he's down low, trying to hide from view, or maybe even trying to use tools to get in. You can vaguely hear him say he knows that she's here. Well, this video is scary enough. A second video turns our fear up a notch. The man apparently lives next door to Maddie, and he tried to smash a hole right through her wall. She captures the damage on video and reassures viewers that cops are on the way. Maddie turned this TikTok account into pure documentation of this stalker's behavior. Her latest video shows she is safe and now in a new apartment. Maddie's advice to other individuals who find themselves in a similar situation is to document everything and protect themselves. This was truly one creepy neighbor. In March of 2019, the sky opened up over the city of Al Ain in the UAE, scaring everyone within a 10-mile radius. Posted by Mr. Potek in November of 2019. This footage was originally posted to Twitter by Ibrahim Al-Jarwan, reported to be an astronomer and meteorologist by the Daily Mail. The footage of the strange whirlpool in the sky was captured while driving. The video went viral, as many were left mystified about what it could be. Are we really looking at a portal to another world? If so, what world are we entering? I just wish we had more footage of this event. It would help us solve this mystery once and for all. Here's another video from the mysterious Menjur Hotel. A woman is bored and giving a brief tour of her room when suddenly a paranormal presence makes itself known.
Hello? Mike?
She waits for a tense moment, hoping that her boyfriend Mike is playing a prank nearby. When nobody answers her, she bravely opens the door and looks into the other room. Here's what she finds.
What? Nuh-uh. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Something has dumped all of her possessions onto the floor in a quick fit of rage. While it's possible that she could have done this herself, it's also quite possible that this really was a paranormal encounter, especially when you consider that fires, missing things, and other strange happenings have become the norm over the years at this hotel, which was also built over the famous Alamo battle site. Well, this man was checking his home CCTV at night. He captured something he didn't expect. Published by Scary Desk in November of 2021, the scary video shows the man setting up his camera and checking that it's angled well in his yard. But as he's doing so, look behind him. A creepy face peeks out from behind a bush in the background. It remains in view even as a car passes by behind it. The face then slowly disappears back behind the bush. A closer look shows the creature's bizarre features. While it looked human from far away, it doesn't exactly look that way close up. Is this being wearing a mask? And why is it hiding? Whatever is going on here, it seems this man set up his security cameras just in time.